Gentlemen, we have a system. A system rebuilt, enhanced, and weaponized for one purpose. To monitor, to archive, and to control the most dangerous organization in professional wrestling. Leagues, territories, and chaos, all contained within a single network. The IWAR Network Tubecast. Powered by intelligence, driven by violence, and now, fully operational.
And welcome back to the IWAR Network Tubecast. I'm your host, Alex G. And with me this evening is good old Matt Riley. What's going on, Matt?
I am good and old, so that works.
Fair enough.
There we are. And, all right, we're here. Who we watching tonight?
So we have some WWC on the bottom right. And then we have some WWA on the top left.
I gotta tell you, one of my favorite wrestling companies is I used to have a thing that the bigger the name, the smaller the promotion. So if they're like International All-Star Superstar Wrestling, there's probably 6 guys in the roster. Whereas if they're like, some kind of cool name, whatever, Tater Tot Wrestling. So another cycle in the books, and that one hurt. It hurt mostly not because it's 27, so I get that. It's 27, fine. It was the back 5. I think everyone can agree with this. I know we're jumping ahead and doing this strap minute, but I had one tag team and one guy who had a title shot that I had 27s on, but the back end was so horrendous that my back 5 was basically like a 41, a 42, 2 44s, and a 43. And that's just the ones that, had the right ones. So it was like, oof. And then I doubled a hold, not once, but 3 times.
Oof.
2 of which on guys in tournament events. So I was like, ah! But, you know what? Hey, whatever.
Stuff happens.
Hey, stuff and such. I will say, though, I'm not seeing my camera here. Am I on camera now? No?
Not yet. You were, but then you weren't. And then
okay.
We're trying to fix that.
I don't see myself, so I don't know if it's in there.
I see you, but they can't see you.
Okay.
I can see.
Well, I have a special little treat to show off here. This is
hold on.
Family heirloom. This is. You see it?
Nope. Well, they can't. I can't.
You can't. It's called it's a brownie, but the Panucci frosting my mom makes.
Oh.
And Panucci frosting is brown sugar frosting, which is damn delicious. That's like a family thing every year. Like, we want for your birthday.
There we go. Now I got you.
There you go. Yeah. When I was in Georgia with Scott, I remember my grandparents sent down a care pack, and there was Panucci in there, Panucci fudge. I remember Vic was over, and we were shooting the breeze, whatever the hell it was. And he's like, "Oh, let me try that." So I give him a piece. And he's like, "Oh." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Oh, it hurts." I'm like, "You don't want the other piece?" Like, "Oh, no. I got 2 sides of my mouth." It's like, that's all right. So, here we are. I wanted to show off real quickly. Kate got me this. She ordered me, actually, the Kenny Omega, John Moxley 2-pack signed by both. But that disappeared in the mail, so they sent her this instead. which is the John Moxley, Bloody John Moxley, Blood and Guts edition.
Nice.
Signed on both sides. That's pretty cool. I don't have a lot of stuff. I have an Abdul the Butcher. I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. So, anyway, what else is going on?
I'm trying
Did you make
to
your ID cards yet?
I did not make my ID cards. I'm working on fixing the chat for reasons that I'm not sure why the chat's not coming up. That's weird.
The chat. I see. The last thing I see is "fuck yeah" from Moonbase.
Yeah, but it's not on the.
Oh, okay.
It's a black box. Like you can see it next to you, so it's not doesn't really hurt us, but it's annoying.
Yeah, that's all right. Welcome to all the new viewers at home.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So let me put this aside here. Yeah. So
what do you got? What do you got from Johnny B?
Johnny B. Jr. Well, I'm gonna sip of water here because I don't know if this was sent on his phone or something, but it's all the text is like skewed to the left.
Yeah.
I'd like to open tonight's segment by commending Alex for holding his tongue during the times in previous episodes when a commercial appeared in one of the little video windows advertising chili dogs for 69 cents. With that out of the way, I'll continue tonight's segment by confirming that I am, in fact, angry with him. Yes.
Again?
He's been making the sacrifice of recording the show on Wednesday nights in spite of his work schedule because it results in a better product for all his viewers, which includes me. But he created another official Johnny B playlist on his channel, and the second thing I watched more than canceled out of my appreciation for that selfless act. I began my homework assignment by watching the unsold pilot of the sitcom Cadets. It starred Soleil Moon Frye.
And
She was
Urkel.
my first crush. She was my first crush as a kid.
She had big old titties.
I saw her on Double Dare, and it was like she was more than had got there, and like no one had pulled her aside to say, hey, maybe don't do that show.
I think she got a reduction in the
sports
90s, I believe, on a couple
it was a
different
wild
times.
time.
Fun was had by all on that one. Wow.
Yes. So let's see here. So better known as Punky Brewster, and who at a mere 15 years of age. Oh, underwear the type of elective surgery that makes Matt cry. That's true. It also starred Jaleel White. I didn't know. Better known as Steve Urkel, and who at a mere 15 years of age underwent an emergency appendectomy on the sitcom Family Matters, not in real life. The show wasn't exactly terrible, but it wasn't very good either, and I couldn't believe actors Richard Roundtree and William Sadler needed the money that badly. I mean, Richard had played Shaft. Did he really want to distance himself from such an iconic character and at any cost? Okay, I'm done talking about Shaft. There are a few moments in the show that I enjoyed, other than Jaleel's impressive moonwalking skills. Seriously, they all occurred during the ending credits. Outside of North America, large waste containers like dumpsters are called skips, and the name of the show's editor is Skip Collector. One of the crew members who did the re-recording shares his name with the IWAR's Larry Sullivan. Perhaps funniest of all, one of the makeup artists is named Diane Schatz. That's a tough name to grow up with. The next item on my supposedly official playlist was a pilot for the short-lived comedy Delta House, which was a family-friendly sequel to National Lampoon's Animal House. Family-friendly.
Yeah.
So that's the short-lived part. But that had already been on the previous supposedly official playlist, and I reviewed an episode in reviewed it in episode 207, writing, Delta House was particularly shocking. It was like watching the most affordable actors from Animal House being hired to put on an amateur stage play at a birthday party for young children. It was really bizarre cross between Animal House and Saved by the Bell, but Saved by the Bell carrying the dominant genes. It was unreal. The YouTube title of the video on the playlist claimed it was a, quote, better quality version, end quote. But sadly, it simply referred to the video resolution, so I decided to choose something else. Cadets also featured young Corin Nemec, who went on to star in Parker Lewis Can't Lose, and his girlfriend on the show was played by Jennifer Guthrie, who was the star of the second thing I watched. Alex put the unsold pilot of the TV series Adventures in Babysitting in my playlist, as well as on his list of top 10 favorite movies, so I figured it must be good, but I was so very wrong. It co-starred Joey Lawrence, who disappointingly didn't say "whoa" even once. Also in the cast was a young Courtney Peldon, better known for her role in Home Improvement. I don't know who that is. Who was she in Home Improvement?
I'm not sure.
I mean, a tool girl. But what made me so angry is that it also featured Brian Austin Green. Not only is his acting mediocre at its very best, but he somehow managed to date Megan Fox while she was at her very best.
Peak.
As Alex likes to say, whenever Ryan wins a title, he doesn't deserve it. One thing that helped me tolerate his intolerable presence was that at one point he pretended to be a fortune teller, and it reminded me of Chris Godby's humorous creation in his latest Tubecast. Well done, sir, and such fast work. Another thing to help ease my suffering was an enlightening on-screen weather alert that read, "The National Severe Thunderstorms Forecast Center has issued a severe thunderstorm forecast watch." A severe thunderstorm forecast watch means conditions are favorable for severe thunderstorms in and close to the watch area. Awesome life-saving stuff. Like Cadets, the best moments from the Adventures of Babysitting pilot occurred during the end credits. The production sound mixer's name was Michael Ballin, and the voiceover Pat Sajak mentioned that one of the guests on his talk show would be, quote, "the priest who married Hugh Hefner." Another voiceover stated that coming up next was the film Lady Hawk, starring Michelle Pfeiffer. She rose to fame after appearing in every episode of Delta House, which every episode except the one Alex had me watch. Come on, man. Last time Alex said, "I want to know which house party is Johnny B's favorite. Mine is number 3. Johnny B says, I hate to agree with Alex on anything. I will concede that the third film of the franchise is the best, mostly because it contains a character named Johnny B, and just like me, the B stands for booze." Random comment, the latest IWAR magazine issue covers all things IWAR, 24/7. Wow. Massive publication for a long time. Kudos on your love, your dedication to your fellow players. Did I don't remember what I put on there. I black out after a while, or I will just put things on there that don't make sense. I remember putting in like random nonsense. I'd slip things in and see if anyone noticed.
I do it all the time. There's Easter eggs all over my shit.
I think I had like a call from Catfish Straub, and that was my favorite. Once again, Alex has caused the length of the segment to spiral out of control, so I'll close by asking the host to consider the following for the IWAR draft. If advertising that the winner will receive $100 in IWAR credit fails to attract the final 3 wrestlers needed for the 5 rounds, perhaps pointing out that Alex will be losing $100 will do the trick. It would certainly be effective beforehand. He made them all watch a terrible show with Brian Austin Green in it. I guess calling a show terrible when he is in it is, as we like to say, redundant. I will say this. I noticed there was one thing they didn't answer, and we asked a question about, like, hey, there were a few reruns. Last cycle was brutal. This cycle we had 2 reruns. I know FanDuel has the rerun at 1.5, so I took the over. And we asked, what could we do to make it easier? And now I was also curious if he could walk us through, just like, okay, so Monday, like you get in the mail, like duration, like if you come in. At
I think he's loading them up as they come.
Yeah,
or pretty quickly, because I've gotten some.
Up,
so I don't know. Like,
say,
I don't see. This is what I want to know. Do I get to thank you after they enter it, or before they enter, or when they receive it? Is the thank you confirmed that stuff went in?
Is that a real American native person there in that video?
Yes.
The text is working, by the way.
Yeah, I saw it.
All right, so last time, well, I should say this. For how long now have you been doing the NWL review with the TT assistants?
It's been almost a year, I think. It's been a while.
So with Jarvis?
Yeah, it's been.
That's a nice way to put it, with Jarvis helping us.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah. So this episode, Gary, who has helped joined our commissioner team, he stepped up big time and did some reviews for all of the leagues. So this is a work in progress. We're gonna try to narrow it, get it refined, but let us know what you like, what you want to hear more about. Focus on this.
The ideas would probably get them as, I wouldn't say like super short, but you want to hit. And the bigger leagues are always going to be more. So if you have a league like the BRO, where there's a lot of stuff that's happening, it's obviously going to be longer than some of the other leagues. That's okay. But I think we want to get them probably all under 10 minutes just to start. It's probably where we should go.
Okay.
Yeah. But like I was telling Matt before about like try not to recap off the source. Have it make an outline first and have them recap off the outline. So at the very least, you can pull stuff off that you don't want to. So if something's like, that's goofy, that's weird, I'm gonna cut it. You can take things away. It's a little bit easier. Or stuff that's their double, because that happens too, or like it doubles up. Especially if you have like multiple people talking.
Yeah. I just think that we want to capture some of the essence of the league, what's going on, but we're going to try to get better and better at this. So
yeah, and I would also send the written recap to the commissioner too, just so they have it, so they can use that if they want to recap their leagues, which I always recommend. And the reason why I'm so big on the league recaps, because before that was a thing, we would run into issues where people didn't know what was going on in the league because, hey, listen, they missed a cycle, they're not paying attention, they're not following the story, and then they're coming out of left field with stuff. And sometimes they're walking into other people's angles, and that became messy from a time. So that's why I'm big on the recap, so everyone can I can quickly see so-and-so's fighting so-and-so, maybe I shouldn't get involved with that. And so all of a sudden you're sneak attacking everybody, and then what are you doing? We're in a feud.
Right. And I just feel that, I've had people say to me, hey, I want a feud with so-and-so. And so-and-so is already in a feud. And it's like, well, they're already busy, so why don't you pick somebody who's not doing anything? And I will say this, to be fair to those who trash talk or are consistent, there are plenty of guys who tell me, oh, man, if somebody was he was going to work with, and then someone comes along and, it's like, well, that's not who I was hoping to work with. Well, then go do on your own. Go call somebody out. Make it up. Make it happen.
And the big thing, too, is, we talk about making sure that we're reacting. If someone says your name in a trash talk, it'd probably be a good idea to react to it. So even if someone mentions something in passing.
Right.
So what I like to do, too, I don't know if anyone does it, I hit Control F, and I'll type in Luther, and it'll run me through every time his name was mentioned. So I can go back and make sure I didn't miss anything.
Right. There you go. All right, so where do we want to launch first this week or this episode?
I figure I do NWL first, get the kids out the way so they can go to bed.
All right.
Alrighty, NWL Bulletin 257. Now, guys, this will be the one that counts towards the pay-per-view Rumble in the Bronx. So I'm not going to announce any of the results. I do have them, but I'm not going to announce the results. But I do have them, so. Keep that in mind, but again, if you look at the scores, you'll have a good idea where you landed. So, alrighty, league champion Stylen Savion Banks, TV champion Crush Groove, Central Plains champion Mac Truck Murphy, East Coast champion Captain America Johnny Drake, Great Lakes champion Sir Lord Dorian Grimshaw, Mid-Atlantic champion Dreadnought Mars. Northeast champion, Andre Carrington. Pacific Northwest champion, The Natural, Danny Kimura. Rocky Mountain champion, El Hijo de Tigre Rex. Or Son of the Tiger King, if you want to be... that's interesting. You can do some fun stuff with that. Southeast champion, Super Dragon. Southwest champion, Devilish, Danny Zero. West Coast champion, Mr. Fantabulous. League tag team champion, Stylen Savion Banks, and Crush Groove, The Come Up. TV Tag Team Champions, The Fisherman, Rod and Reel, and El Hijo de Tigre Rex. A League Six-Man Champions winning another 5 free matches. Savion Banks, Andre Carrington, and Crush Groove, The Come Up. TV Six-Man Champions, Captain American, Johnny Drake, El Hijo de Tigre Rex, and Lucky Dice Vegas. And your Battle Royal winner, Stylen Savion Banks. So, Alex G, what's going down in the NWL? Well, we are on the, I guess we call it Rumble in the Bronx Eve. That's where we stand right now. So keep that in mind that people may, in fact, die. There have been people passed away in this match before. It's very dangerous. There's broken glass. And there's, yes, There's broken glass and barbed wire and C4 explosives and, most importantly, live scorpions surrounded the ring. The ring is elevated an additional 10 feet off the ground, so when you throw someone over the top rope, they're falling from, 15 feet in the air. So just keep that in mind. So you really don't want to get eliminated. The winner of this match does get a number one contenders. Will be the number one contenders for the NWL National Championship. So, which will be in the next unnamed NWL pay-per-view, which I haven't come up with a name for it yet. So, but the card as of right now, you have the Rumble in the Bronx. You have the NWL National Championship match. Will be Crush Field taking on Prince Pimplefire. For the Grand Prix Championship match, Andre Carrington to face TBA, by the way, since Ryan Rivers gave up his match. It'll be Marilyn Militia taking on the Come Up for the National Tag Team Championship match. And then there's the Lights Out Grudge match. Ryan Rivers taking on Alexander. And then in the six-man matchup, we have Glock Lesnar, Johnny Drake, and I guess it's Dreadnought Mars now taking on Danny Kimura, Super Dragon, and now a mystery partner because Pimplefire wants to focus on his main event match. So there'll be a secret partner for that six-man match. So, like I said, always, the card is, in fact, subject to change. In addition to that, Luther Alexander has recently bought the company out of bankruptcy, Columbia House. So if you want to get Luther Alexander's greatest matches, they're available for you. So in terms of the recap, let's do that now. I gotta share. Probably should keep these shows on share, to be honest. Include sound. Okay. And just give me a thumbs up when you hear stuff. Okay.
Welcome everyone to your NWL Cycle 257 recap right here on the IWAR network. I'm Ian Mooney, and with Rumble in the Bronx rapidly approaching, the National Wrestling League has reached the point where championship ambitions, personal vendettas, and outright warfare are beginning to collide. And nowhere is that more obvious than with Alexander. After being beaten, thrown into a dumpster, and left surrounded by flames, Alexander emerged burned, battered, and somehow even more dangerous than before. He looked directly into the camera and reminded everyone exactly who Luther Alexander is. Assault, kidnapping, false imprisonment, arson, violence has followed that man everywhere he goes. But after surviving what happened to him, Alexander says something inside him has changed. The smoke filled his lungs, the heat burned his skin, and through all of it, one thought remained. 4 words: Ryan Rivers must die. Alexander says there will be no mercy at Rumble in the Bronx. No escape, no forgiveness. And his message to Don Collins was just as disturbing. Somebody needs to dig the hole. While one man appears to have completely lost whatever restraint he had left, another dangerous figure has entered the NWL. Subject 13. According to the information provided to the League, Subject 13 was the sole survivor of Project Blackwood, a covert experiment at St. Pete Jude's sanatorium designed to eliminate the human sensation of pain. He was subjected to extreme psychological trauma and electroshock conditioning until he supposedly stopped registering physical damage normally. When the facility lost power in 1998, Subject 13 tore his way out and disappeared. Now, under the direction of his former handler, Dr. Alistair Vance, Subject 13 has arrived in the National Wrestling League. And if everything we have been told is true, hurting this man may be considerably easier than stopping him. But the strangest development of Cycle 257 may belong to the Sacred Dragon clan. Hiroshi Kimura stood inside the ring alongside Super Dragon when attention suddenly shifted toward the crowd. Standing among the fans was a large man in jeans and a black coat, his face hidden beneath a crude brown paper bag. He raised one arm. Hanging from his fist were 4 Sacred Dragon Clan pendants. Then the video wall came alive. One Dragon Clan member attacked inside an NWL restroom, another beaten and stripped of his pendant, another stuffed into the trunk of a car, and Danny Kimura himself ambushed and left unconscious inside his own gym. 4 attacks, 4 members of the Dragon Clan, 4 stolen pendants. The obvious question was whether the mysterious figure was Dreadnought Mars, retaliation for what the Dragon Clan had previously done to Mars and Chris G. But the man never identified himself. Hiroshi demanded that he come to the ring. The stranger simply raised the pendants again, disappeared into the crowd, and left the entire NWL asking the same question. Who was underneath that paper bag? And because apparently Cycle 257 did not already have enough insanity, Mr. Fantabulous found himself on the cover of People magazine. Proclaimed the sexiest man alive. Yes, the sexiest man alive. Money everywhere. Women surrounding him. Championship gold over his shoulder. Mr. Fantabulous may have enemies throughout the NWL, but apparently he also has one extremely effective public relations department. Things became considerably less glamorous when the Dirty South Mafia discovered what had happened to Glock Lesnar's lowrider. The windows were smashed, the tires were destroyed. The Dragon Clan symbol had been painted across the vehicle, and the Dirty South Mafia logo had been crossed out. Johnny Drake tried to keep everyone focused. Rumble in the Bronx was still ahead of them. Dreadnought Mars had another suggestion: ultraviolence. And eventually, the Dirty South Mafia went looking for the Dragon Clan. Their search led them into Chinatown and to a location known as the Flying Dragon. The building appeared abandoned, doors locked, windows covered, nobody answering. Glock Lesnar decided knocking was no longer necessary. He went back to the vehicle, opened the trunk, and pulled out an RPG. Seconds later, the Flying Dragon was engulfed in flames. Glock, Johnny, and Mars disappeared into the night. At that point, this stopped looking like a wrestling rivalry. This was becoming a war. And then came the decision that stunned the entire league. Ryan Rivers gave up his guaranteed Grand Prix championship rematch. Don Collins showed Rivers the reaction from around the wrestling world. Fans were shocked. Former champions questioned his judgment. Some called the decision courageous. Others called it career suicide. Andre Carrington certainly was not complaining, but Rivers did not care, because Ryan Rivers did not want another championship opportunity. He wanted Alexander. Alexander responded with a message of his own. You signed your death certificate. Rivers barely reacted. His answer was simple. Alexander can believe whatever he wants. But when Alexander realizes exactly what he has gotten himself into, Rivers intends to make sure there is no way out. And the NWL responded by announcing increased security surrounding their confrontation at Rumble in the Bronx. Ryan Rivers against Alexander. Lights out. No rules. No sanction. No turning back. Elsewhere, the come-up gathered in their locker room, and Savion Banks had plenty to say about the Maryland militia. According to Banks, everything coming from Brian Clothier and Gary Morris is fear. Fear of a group that keeps adapting. Fear of a group that keeps surviving. Fear of a group that continues collecting championships. Banks pointed directly toward what happened at homecoming and reminded everyone that Crush Groove eventually took the national championship away from Brian Clothier. Andre Carrington was more interested in Ryan Rivers. Carrington could not believe Rivers had willingly abandoned his Grand Prix championship rematch. And with Rivers stepping aside, Carrington wanted to know exactly who would be willing to step forward and challenge the heart of the city. But there is another reality hanging over the come-up. The IWAR draft is approaching. Rumble in the Bronx will be their final pay-per-view as members of the NWL. Savion Banks knows it. Andre Carrington knows it. Crush Groove knows it. Their time in the National Wrestling League may be running out. Their plan, however, has not changed. Draw money, stacks on stacks, titles on titles. And in their own words, let's get this paper. Fisherman Rod and Reel and Lumberjack Tim Burr also checked in during Cycle 257, offering their assistance to Mr. Fantabulous following his issues with the Dirty South Mafia. Rod even offered Mr. Fantabulous a brand new bright yellow hat, which may or may not improve the situation. Lan C also reached out to El Hijo de Tiger Rex about potentially joining forces in the NWL, took a completely unnecessary shot at Brian Clothier, and even asked Luther Alexander to put them on one of his shows. There are a lot of major developments taking place in this company. Lan C apparently intends to involve themselves in as many of them as possible. But the war between Dirty South Mafia and the Dragon Clan was far from finished. Before Dirty South could move forward, Johnny Drake realized something was wrong. Chris G was missing. Dreadnought Mars was missing. Eventually, the cameras found them. Both men had been brutally attacked and left lying in a secluded backstage corridor. And while nobody actually witnessed the assault itself, the cameras caught Hiroshi Kimura and members of the Dragon Clan leaving the area. Dirty South had made its move. Now the Dragon Clan had answered. But perhaps the most unexpected reaction came from inside the Kimura family itself. Danny Kimura went to the hospital to visit Chris G, and Danny was ashamed. He made it clear that attacking an older man in that fashion was not strength. It was childish, it was weak, and most importantly to Danny Kimura, it was dishonorable. Danny promised that he would confront his own family. He promised that he would put an end to the dishonor, and somehow he promised Chris G that he would make things right. Because for Danny Kimura, this was no longer about pride. It was about respect. The Dirty South Mafia, however, is not interested in forgiveness. They gathered around Chris G's hospital bed, and the message was unmistakable. The Dragon Clan crossed the line. For Johnny Drake, this goes far beyond a manager being attacked. Chris G is his oldest friend, his brother, his family, and Glock Lesnar had one piece of advice for Johnny Drake. Let that side of you out. Let the monster out of its cage. Johnny Drake says the Dragon Clan left Chris beaten and broken. They took things too far. And now they are going to experience the wrath of a man who believes he has nothing left to lose. The hunt is on. Revenge will be served. And if Cycle 257 proved anything, it is that Rumble in the Bronx is no longer simply about championships. Ryan Rivers and Alexander are walking toward a lights-out fight that may permanently change both men. The come-up is approaching its final NWL pay-per-view with gold, money, and legacy still on its mind. And the Dirty South Mafia and Dragon Clan are no longer threatening war. They are already fighting one. That's your NWL recap. Now back to the Tubecast.
There it is. So that is our NWL recap. Very melodramatic, as we can be in the NWL. That's the way we do things over there. So, everything's a big deal. But great job overall, guys. Keep up the great work. Again, we're excited about the draft. And the one thing about the NWL is like you got to move quickly because you're on the clock, right? So, it's very much I call the college basketball league.
How much time does the come up have left?
Well, they're leaving after the pay-per-view, which will be next cycle.
Oh my God!
So,
it's funny. It's like just that Crush Groove is real close to the. I think he's, I want to say 11th, or he's up there all time. So he's a chance to break the top 10. No pressure.
It's funny when he was supposed to be like almost the mascot character. You know how that happens? Like, your funny character or your jokey character is the one that does the best and kind of elevates himself. So that happens quite a bit. It's just funny that Mark Botch is another one that was he's supposed to be kind of a comedy character and he went on to do big things. So that stuff does happen. So
I mean that unit is a group. You have. They've all held the championship, but Savion Banks has twice been a Triple Crown.
Yeah.
And I think a Grand Slam. I think both him and Crush Groove's in a Grand Slam where it's like Battle Royal as well as the top titles. So, going to the draft, lots of hype.
And it goes to show you like how good and how fast these guys are getting so good. Yeah, so as soon as they enter like their new league, they're going to be ready to go. So,
yeah. So, all right. So where are we going next?
Let's see. Where do you want to go?
BWL.
BWL. Okay.
Yeah. Let me find it here.
Let me find it here.
So. Yes, number 75. Your Black Widow champion is Mother D.
Oh.
TV champion Enchantress. Japan Idol champion Vampirella. Joshi champion Rachel Yamazaki. Zenzo champion Rachel Van Dorn. Luchadores champion, non-Rachel named Veruca Salt. Cheerleaders champion, Crazy Jenny Starr. Bellatrix champion, Aria Gunpowder. Themyscira champion, She-Squatch, Jessica Reese, too. Hollywood champion, Brenda Bring the Pain. Sin City champion, Gethsemane.
Yes.
Yep. Willowwick champion, Sensational Sydney Renard, and Battle Royal winner, Enchantress. Your tag champions, Enchantress and She-Squatch, Jessica Reese. TV tag champions, Aria Gunpowder, Rachel Van Dorn. Black Widows, 6-man women champions, Aria Gunpowder, Enchantress, and Mother D. And your 6-woman TV champions, Richard Yamazaki, Rachel Van Dorn, and Crazy Jenny Starr.
So what's going down in the BWO?
Well, there's a pay-per-view that just hit, and great cover. It's like, man, these people are like killing me in the covers. I gotta stop upping my game in the cover.
Well, that's the whole thing too. I feel the same. I'm like, these sons of bitches.
That looks like a professional cover right there. Page 8. Now I will say, I won't be improving the cover. That's pretty much how it is. So.
Fuck it.
Yeah. The corners have to be cut.
So the corner I cut is I find a legit magazine cover and I just replace them with the people that I have instead.
Oh yeah.
So that's what I do now. It kind of saved me a little bit of time.
Well, I don't know if I want to. Let me see here. I think it was put in there. There it is. The results were posted. So I'll talk about Queen's Web 3.
Oh.
Quick results. So Jessica Reese defeated Sydney Renard to become the #1 contender for the Triple Threat title. Vampirella defeated Sarah B. Money, the other spot in the Triple Threat title match. Mother D defeated Brenda Payne and Sydney Renard to become #1 contender for the Wildfire title. Sydney Renard defeated Brenda Payne by point flow to become the #1 contender to the Global title. Mother D and Vampirella defeated Rachel Van Dorn and Aria Gunpowder to win the IWAR Women's Tag Team titles. Vampirella's 501 defeated Brenda Payne and Bandita to win the Global title. Enchantress defeated Rachel Van Dorn and Gina Colada, to retain the Triple Threat title. Jenny Starr defeated Aria Gunpowder to win the Wildfire title. And Jessica Reese defeated Huntress to win the finals to become the Queen of the Ring. So the Queen of the Ring is She-Squatch.
Well, there it is.
And then Mother D, Mother D defeated Brenda Payne to become the IWAR Women's Champion. So Mother D pulling double duty. Well done. And I know we have a review, right?
I do. All right, I'll go ahead and I'll hit that. So Black Widow League.
This is Malik Carter with your Black Widow League recap for Bulletin 75 Dog Days 2026. And let me tell you right now, the web is tight, the pressure is rising, and these women are not walking into Queen's Web 3 looking for polite applause. They are walking in looking for gold, momentum, revenge, and proof. We start with Mother D, and when Mama talks, the division needs to listen. She stepped forward with the TV title over her shoulder, the lethal lottery crown in hand, and reminded everyone that August was not luck and it was not chance. August was Mama's reminder that when you push her down, she gets back up swinging harder than anybody in this league wants to admit. Mother D had words for Brenda. Bring Day Payne, Vampirella, Aria Gunpowder, Rachel Van Dorn, and Bandita, making it clear she is not chasing gold. She is collecting it. She wants redemption, she wants the IWAR women's tag belts, and she wants Queen's Web 3 to prove that two women who were ignored can stand together and break through the spotlight. Fallon Donovan also sounded ready to start climbing again. She did not want to go on a rant, but she made it clear she is tired of one main wrestler getting cycle after cycle of attention while others are left fighting for their place. Fallon called out Mother D, said she has pulled back a match in a steel cage between them, and made it clear she has more to say. That is not noise, that is a warning flare. Then Aria Gunpowder stood beside Case Walker with the Wildfire title in her hands, honest about her injured foot, but just as honest about her mindset. She admitted she is trying to get through the match physically, but she is not rolling over for Crazy Jenny Starr. Aria said she is a fighter, always has been. And if Jenny does not bring her best at Where the Boys Aren't Five, she will not get any closer to that Wildfire title. The line of the night? It's time to put up or shut up, and I never shut up. We also got a message from outside the BWL spotlight with Mara Steele, the women's world champion and international champion, standing tall with 2 championships and 1 message. This is her era. Mara said she is not worried about forever. She is worried about right now. And right now, every woman in VVL has a target on her back because she wants what Mara has. She did not ask for her moment. She took it. 2 championships, 1 woman, Mara Steele. Then Rachel Van Dorn went live for her fans, and this one was deeper than title talk. Yes, she had 2 PPV wins, got tag gold back, and has the triple threat title in her sights against Gina Colada and Enchantress. But the real message was for Bandita. Rachel said they are more alike than Bandita wants to admit. Always near the main event, always near the big matches, always trying to bury pain. Rachel said titles do not take the pain away, and she urged Bandita to try the Faith app, promising she would be there after the match, win or lose. Rachel then kept the Faith app energy going on a nature hike, talking through Queen's Web and the titles in front of her. She tried to make sense of messages about a trinity, her mother, Mother D, Vampirella, and her tag title defense with Aria Gunpowder. Rachel may sound scattered, but the confidence is there. She is focused, she is ready, and she expects to leave Queen's Web holding gold. Then the tone turned inward with Veruca Salt. The resume speaks for itself. 2021 IWAR Women's Wrestler of the Year, longest reigning IWAR Women's Champion, Queen of the Ring, Ladies US Champion, and a long list of BWL accolades. But this was not a victory lap. Veruca was in a doctor's office going through an exam, and every question pushed her closer to the real issue. Not whether her body could recover, but whether her confidence could. The doctor checked her eyes, her balance, her memory, and Veruca's mind kept circling back to one word: championship. She remembered what it felt like to be the standard, the woman everyone wanted to beat or become. Now she is wondering whether she can get back there, whether she still belongs at the top of the BWL, and whether too many big match losses eventually stop being setbacks and start becoming the truth. But Veruca did not end broken. She ended honest. The doctor told her she had progressed physically, but he could see doubt in her eyes. Veruca looked in the mirror and admitted she might not know if she can become IWAR Women's Champion again. She might not know if she can stand on top of the BWL again. But she knows one thing: she is not finished trying. And if someone wants to prove she is not good enough anymore, they will have to do it inside the ring. And then came sensational Sydney Reinhardt, walking into the violet spotlight with the kind of confidence that makes every woman on the card check her schedule twice. Sydney said Queen's Web 3 gives her 3 matches, 3 divisions, and 3 women who swear they are ready. To her, it is not pressure. It is a busy Thursday night. Sydney opened with Brenda Bring Da Pain, giving Brenda credit for being on a heater, but warning that streaks do not scare her. She breaks them. Then in the Wildfire title #1 contender triple threat, Sydney looked at Brenda again and added Mother D to the equation, saying she does not need to overpower either woman because she outthinks, outmaneuvers, and outclasses them. And for the finale, Sydney turned her attention to She-Squatch Jessica Reese. Big, strong, loud, intimidating, but in Sydney's words, not a monster. Just her finale. Sydney said Queen's Web 3 is not a challenge, it is a showcase. 3 matches, 3 divisions, 3 chances to prove that sensational Sydney Reinhardt is the axis this league spins around. So where does that leave the Black Widow League? Mother D is collecting gold and calling out anyone in her path. Aria Gunpowder is hurt but still dangerous. Rachel Van Dorn is chasing focus, faith, and championships. Bandita has a title defense and a storm inside her. Veruca Salt is fighting the toughest opponent of her career, herself. And Sydney Reinhardt is walking into Queen's Web 3 like the whole night belongs to her. And speaking of Queen's Web 3, that card is stacked. Brenda Bring Da Pain defends the IWAR Women's title against Mother D. She-Squatch Jessica Reese meets Huntress in the 2026 Queen of the Ring Finals. Aria Gunpowder defends the Wildfire title against Crazy Jenny Starr. Enchantress defends the Triple Threat title against Rachel Van Dorn and Gina Colada. Bandita defends the Global title against Brenda Payne and Vampirella. Rachel Van Dorn and Aria Gunpowder defend the IWAR Women's Tag Team Championship against Mother D and Vampirella. And that is before we even get to the #1 contender matches for the Global, Wildfire, and Triple Threat titles. This is Malik Carter, and Queen's Web 3 is not just another event. It is the night the Black Widow League pulls every thread tight. And when that web closes, somebody is getting trapped.
All right, there it is. That is your BWL recap. So, Matt, where are we heading to now?
Well, why don't we do ECW?
ACW. Okay. All-American Championship Wrestling. Number 29, Dog Days 2026. League Champion, Shotgun, James Carnage. And in fact, does not deserve it. So, there you go. American Territories Champion, Eddie Chavez. New England Champion, Brad, the Executioner Hart. Atlantic Coast Champion, the Total Package U.S. Mail. Great Lakes Champion, Creeper Cortez. Smoky Mountain Champion, Steel Sampson. Deep South Champion, Colossal Eric Clavier. The Gulf Coast Champion, Tormented Timmy. Texas Heartland Champion, Luther Alexander. Rocky Mountain Champion, Grandmaster Sisho Yamamoto. Desert State Champion, Big Win, Vin Perez. Pacific Coast Champion, everyone knows Hugh Sucks. ACW League Tag Team Champions, A+ Aja Singh and Big Win Vin Perez. American Territories Tag Team Champions, Jawbone Jack and Tormented Timmy. ACW League 6-Man Champions, Grandmaster Sisho Yamato, Creeper Cortez, and the Man of the Night, Deuce Forsyth. American Territories 6-Man Champion, Eddie Chavez, Tino Sonata, and Ken the Anvil Neidhart. And your Battle Royal winner, like this guy needs more free matches. Shotgun, James Carnage. What's going down in the ACW? Now, we have the next pay-per-view, which will be the Devil's Playground, and that will be in September. So there'll be the points from 29, so there'll be the points from this cycle, and the write-ups will be next cycle. So those results should be out there, possibly, maybe. We will see. But the card is we had Brad Executioner Hart taking on Texas Jesse Tombstone for the ACW Heavyweight title. Soviet Heavyweight Championship match, Luther Alexander taking on Russian Invader #1. ACW Heavyweight Tag Team title match, Aja Singh and Vin Perez taking on Shotgun James Carnage and Texas Jesse Tombstone. ACW Heavyweight Trios title match, Eddie Chavez, Tino Sanaz, and Ken Neidhart taking on Aja Singh, Vin Perez, and Stan Andreas. You have your Battle Royals. You have a Texas Tornado 6-man match with the Nightfall Cartel taking on the Regulators. Steel Cage match with the Gaelic Dick Moore taking on Knuckles Nelson, and that's been a blood feud. And your Survivor Series match with Team Lucha taking on the Shadow Syndicate. So let's see if I can find my ACW recap, which is somewhere over the rainbow. Let me see. Oh, wait.
Uh-oh. Look at that timing.
Luther Alexander taking on Russian Invader #1. Son of a bitch!
Turn your volume down.
Turn your volume down.
Oh man.
There he is.
Oh, it worked.
It did work.
There it is.
So Ryan, we're about to listen to the ACW recap.
Oh, that's why I timed it like that.
You did. You did very good timing on your part.
Yeah. I'm not gonna. That's a bad joke. Yeah. So, how far did you get?
I went through the champions. I went over the pay-per-view real quick, and I was saying how the results are for this cycle and the write-up for next cycle. Is that correct?
Yeah. I was gonna announce them, but we got a couple surprises, so that doesn't make sense without the story to go along with it.
Fair enough.
What?
So we're gonna hold off. One thing I'm gonna change for next cycle. Usually I do the commission report, which is basically the same. And then I usually do everybody's TT, which should be before, like maybe even like minutes before the pay-per-view, and then I put the pay-per-view at the end. But everybody kind of figures out what the results are, and most of TT is like post pay-per-view. So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna move the pay-per-view to the commission report is moments before the opening bell. Then I'll put the all the matches and everything, so everything can be afterwards. So it just kind of makes a little more sense.
Sons of
But
bitches.
yeah, it was we're just gonna keep we'll keep the surprises a surprise for next cycle. We will have the pay-per-view after this one is going to be Winter Warfare from the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field.
Oh boy.
So I figured if you're going to have an outdoor event like that, I mean, they show up to football games with no shirts on and drinking, so that's going to be a good place to have it, I think. Let's see. So that's the pay-per-view stuff. What else can we do here? Real quick. Go to 29. Let's see. We've got I've thrown this out there. We did have even before the draft, so this is great. Pit Fighter is here. He looks like the real deal. We've had, let's see, the Nightfall Cartel are on a real big winning streak right now. The Iron Titans debuted and took the 6-man championships last cycle, a couple cycles ago, and I believe they were also IWA champions as well in their debut cycle.
So they won their 1/16th of that 6-man title.
Yeah. Hey, 1/16th is better than 0/16th. We've got the Redacted.
Matt, eventually we have to go
also
over why there's so many IWA World 6-man champions all the time.
Black Flag, their debut for tag team. They took gold as well a couple cycles ago. So I'm kind of like recapping maybe 2 cycles here. This cycle, another good one from Husuck. Kind of stinks that he's debuting here for a few cycles, then going into the draft, but looks like a good.
You can always draft
player.
him, buddy.
So you're saying you're not going to draft him and keep him in the league? Wow.
What a jerk.
Well, I can't say. Part of me says because he's new. That's fair game. But there's some guys I know that are in the draft from the ACW that they're. If you're going to the draft, it kind of tells me like you want to try something new. So I don't know if I want to force people back in or not. But if you're the best of what's there when I draft,
that's it.
Fair, it's fair game.
It happens.
Let's see what else is going on. After Risky Business, we've got Cano Thunder in the hospital getting visited by Senior Lucha. He's promising him to be there for the pay-per-view.
What a backstabber this guy is. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll keep it short with that. And looking forward to the draft. Looking forward to some new people. Getting the write-ups done for matches already. We got some surprises for it. And that's where the ACW is right now.
I dig that. All right, so we do have a recap. So let me play that recap for you, and here we go. Let's see if this actually works.
This is Renee Moxley with your All-American Championship Wrestling recap for issue 29, Dog Days 2026. And if Devil's Playground is where ACW is headed, then this cycle was the warning sign telling everybody to turn back before it is too late. We start in Commissioner Buford T. Justice's office, where the commissioner was trying, and mostly failing, to stay calm before ACW heads to Austin, Texas. Devil's Playground is in his home state, on his turf, and Buford had one goal: make sure the event goes off without a hitch. Unfortunately for him, his brothers kept calling for extra tickets, Junior kept trying to help, and Buford's heart rate monitor kept reminding everyone that maybe this job is not great for his blood pressure. Eventually, Buford gathered himself, sent Junior off to catering, picked up what was left of his Diablo sandwich, and promised Austin, Texas the show it deserves. That may be comforting. It may also be a threat. With Buford T. Justice, it is usually both. And that brings us directly to Devil's Playground, coming Sunday, September 13th, 2026, from Q2 Stadium in Austin, Texas. This is not just another ACW event. This is the Elite Live event, with championship matches, #1 contender battle royals, faction warfare, cage violence, and enough grudges to keep every official in the building looking over both shoulders. At the top of the card, Brad the Executioner Hart defends the ACW Heavyweight Championship against Texas Jesse Tombstone, and that one has Texas written all over it. Brad walks in as champion, but Tombstone walks into Austin with home state energy and a chance to take the biggest prize in ACW. The Soviet Heavyweight Championship will also be on the line as Luther Alexander defends against Russian Invader 1. Luther says he is coming to wrestle a clean, scientific match, which somehow sounds more alarming than if he had promised fire, bats, and broken glass. The ACW Heavyweight Tag Team Championship match has Ajay Singh and Vin Perez defending against Shotgun James Carnage and Texas Jesse Tombstone, while the ACW Heavyweight Trios Championship match puts Eddie Chavez, Tino Sonata, and Ken Neidhart against Ajay Singh, Vin Perez, and Stan Andreas. That means Singh and Perez could have a very busy, very profitable, or very painful night. Maybe all three. Devil's Playground will also feature #1 contender champions battle royals for the ACW Heavyweight, United States, ACW Heavyweight Tag Team, and ACW Heavyweight Trios divisions. Those fields include plenty of names who can change the direction of ACW in one night: Ajay Singh, Shrug Shadow, Blackjack Robertson, El Luchador Americano, Hugh Sook, Tino Sonata, Deuce Forsyth, Shotgun James Carnage, Vin Perez, Terry Garnia, Jackknife Justice, Senor Lucha, US Mail, Eddie Chavez, Jawbone Jack, Cudmud, Steel Sampson, and more. If you want a title shot in ACW, apparently you have to survive half the locker room first. And that is still not all. The card also lists a Texas Tornado 6-man match between the Nightfall Cartel and the Regulators, a steel cage match between the Gaelic Dick Moore and Knuckles Nelson, and a Survivor Series match with Team Lucha against the Shadow Syndicate. So yes, Buford T. Justice wanted one clean night in Austin. Looking at this card, good luck with that, Commissioner. From there, we move to what the ACW locker room had to say heading into Devil's Playground. Senor Lucha celebrated regaining the ACW League Championship with the ₱1,000,000 knee strike and tossing Jawbone Jack out of the Battle Royal. But the bigger news may be Team Lucha heading into battle shorthanded after the Gaelic Dick Moore was ruled out by injury. Senor Lucha said the team will fight on, even if they are dickless, and hinted he may know the right man to fill that spot. He-Man Hoven tried to explain away the chaos involving the elderly body doubles he hired to protect himself from Luther Alexander. Yes, they were hospitalized. Yes, it got embarrassing. But according to Hoven, they were paid handsomely, and the paperwork protects him from lawsuits. That is one way to run a security plan. Not a smart way, necessarily, but a way. Ajay Singh and Vin Perez then turned their attention toward Devil's Playground, saying they are honored to team with El Luchador Americano in the Triple D Cup Trios tournament. They also made it clear they want what the Regulators have: respect. Perez said he earned the name Big Win by coming through in big matches, and facing the Regulators will be their biggest match yet. Then the Total Package US Mail demanded recognition after taking the American Territories belt from Grandmaster Shirsho Yamato, while also demanding punishment for the Mud family. Mail claimed he had generously offered to mentor the youngest Mud, only to be attacked, tied to a post, and made filthy. In ECW, apparently, championship complaints and Swamp family custody concerns can happen in the same promo. The Hart Association gathered backstage with championship gold everywhere. Brad the Executioner Hart stood with the ACW Heavyweight Championship, while Kenny Anvil Neidhart, Eddie Chavez, and Tino Sonata wore the trio's gold. Neidhart said Devil's Playground is here and the Hart Association is headlining the card from top to bottom. Chavez promised the results would speak for themselves, and Terry Garnia made it clear he and Kenny have their eyes on regaining the ACW Tag Team Championships at Winter Warfare. Brad Hart had the final warning for Texas Jesse Tombstone. He knows he is walking into Texas, into a crowd that will be behind Tombstone, but he says Jesse is still standing across from the best of the best, past, present, and future, and Brad plans to leave Texas with the biggest prize still strapped around his waist. Then we heard from Pit Fighter, and this one was different. No comedy, no circus, no ticket requests, no swamp recipes, just a fighter in a training room acknowledging that ACW has raised the bar. He gave respect to Senor Lucha and Dick Moore, calling Lucha fast and fearless and more tough as steel. Pit Fighter said he is not running from that level of competition. He is here to meet it, fight it, break it, and prove he belongs in the same breath as the best names in ACW. Then things shifted to Luther Alexander, and nobody in ACW walks the line between ridiculous and terrifying quite like Luther. He looked back at risky business and told Keanu Thunder that he warned him there would be consequences. Bathrooms, hallways, catering, parking lots, everywhere Keanu turned, someone was waiting to make his life worse. Then Luther turned his attention to He-Man Hoven, mocking him as a 60-second assassin and calling his match a commercial break. But for Russian Invader number 1, Luther promised something different. No garbage cans, no gasoline, no explosions, just a pure scientific wrestling exhibition of arm drags, headlocks, wrist control, counters, reversals, and mat wrestling. Coming from Luther Alexander, somehow that sounded more unsettling than the explosions. Tracy Koloff then took her own shots at He-Man Hoven, and she did not exactly aim above the belt. She said Luther Alexander is more of a man than Hoven could ever hope to be, mocked Hoven's stamina, and reminded him that Luther beat him for the ACW Soviet Championship. Her message was simple: there is only one real man in this fight, and his name is Luther Alexander. The Nightfall Cartel plotted their path through Devil's Playground with Deuce Forsyth, Grandmaster Shirsho Yamato, and Creeper Cortez all focused on making the pay-per-view their proving ground. Forsyth told them to use everything at their disposal, even in the battle royals, and made it clear that honor is not the priority. The Heart Association and the regulators are in their sights, and Forsyth warned that win, lose, or draw, there will be blood. Then came one of the more serious scenes of the cycle, Keanu Thunder in a hospital bed after Luther Alexander's attack. Senor Lucha came to visit him, clearly worried that Keanu might not be able to make Devil's Playground. Keanu was battered, bandaged, and barely able to laugh without pain, but he refused to back out. He told Senor Lucha that he made a promise, and he intends to keep it. Keanu told Lucha to take care of the Shadow Syndicate, because after Devil's Playground, Keanu has one focus: Luther Alexander. As Lucha left the room, Keanu stared into the camera and made it clear that Luther wanted his attention. Now he has it. And then the whole thing exploded. Gino Monsoon and Buddy Heenan were at ringside when word came in that something was happening in the parking lot. The cameras cut outside and found Dick Moore and Knuckles Nelson already trying to destroy each other with cars, production trucks, garbage cans, and a traffic cone. Knuckles put the cone over Moore's head and punched it. Moore responded with a headbutt. That is not a fight. That is an insurance claim with entrance music. The violence spread backstage with Shrug Shadow and Senor Lucha, then El Luchador Americano and Jackknife Justice, then Jawbone Jack, Tormented Timmy, Steel Sampson, Keanu Thunder, and Hocus Crocus all joining the chaos. Concession tables flipped, merchandise flew, bodies crashed, and Timmy even popped up wearing a giant souvenir regulator's cowboy hat. Honestly, that may have been the most ACW visual possible. Eventually the brawl spilled into the arena itself, with Team Lucha and the Shadow Syndicate fighting down the aisle and into the ring. Timmy moonsaulted onto the entire pile, security flooded the scene, and Gino Monsoon made the key point: this was Devil's Playground before Devil's Playground. And we still do not know who Senor Lucha's final man is. Then the lights went black and gold, and everyone knows Husuk walked out like the boos were applause. The crowd chanted "You suck," and Hugh treated it as brand awareness. According to Hugh, after one debut, one match, and one night, everyone already knows exactly who he is. He did not just win. He arrived. Hugh then turned his attention to the IWAR draft. He said ACW has time before October to make the right decision, but when the draft comes, every league will see what ACW already has: not a prospect, not a project, not a gamble, but a franchise. He compared himself to Michael Jordan and Tom Brady, warning ACW not to become the organization that had greatness in front of it and somehow talked itself into making the wrong choice. Of course, the IWAR draft season would not feel complete without Redacted interrupting reality itself for a second straight cycle. He said other wrestlers want championships and fame, but he is entering because the truth needs a locker room pass. Then, Redacted claimed the WTL is basically Westworld full of android wrestlers and promising that, if ACW drafts him, he will expose the truth behind Luther Alexander's Willowick mayoral election. Russian hackers, bake sales, county zoning boards, apparently everything is connected. He ended by telling every IWAR league that they are not drafting a wrestler. They are drafting an investigator, a whistleblower, and the one man willing to expose the truth to all who will listen. Finally, Black Flag closed the cycle by celebrating their first cycle conquest. Blackbeard and swashbuckling Henry Morgan stood in a pirate tavern in the ACW Arena concourse with the ACW League Tag Team Championships over their shoulders. They said they did not ease into ACW, they kicked the door off its hinges and claimed the division like treasure left unguarded. Black Flag made sure everyone knew this was not a novelty act. They told the locker room to look at the gold and ask whether it still looked like a joke. First cycle, first conquest, first tag team title reign, and next cycle, they plan to defend the belts the same way they won them, with rum in hand, chaos in their hearts, and any challengers sent straight to the bottom of the sea. So there it is. Buford T. Justice is trying to keep Devil's Playground from burning down before it even starts. Brad Hart and Texas Jesse Tombstone are set for the ACW Heavyweight Championship in Austin. Luther Alexander says he is coming to wrestle, which somehow may be worse than coming to fight. Keanu Thunder is injured but not backing down. Team Lucha and the Shadow Syndicate are already tearing each other apart. Hugh Sook wants ACW to treat him like the franchise. And Black Flag has already raided the tag division. This is Renee Moxley, and if this was only the road to Devil's Playground, I am not sure Austin is ready for what happens when ACW actually gets there. This is Renee Moxley.
There it is. That is your ACW recap. So, nice job. I like that. That was good.
Yeah,
that was good.
Real.
ACW, run by a corrupt commish. Oh boy.
I was going to say that's probably the most fun I've had writing for a commissioner, but okay.
There you go.
All right. Well, I hopped on for that, and I'm out of here.
All right, you're going to hop on off.
Yeah.
All right. See you in 3 weeks.
All right, sounds
All
good,
right,
my
man.
friend.
Good job.
All right.
All right, so,
Do you want to go next?
well, I guess it depends where you want to head to. Let's see. Do you want to do the WTL?
Give me WTL.
I don't know if you can see the cat or not.
They can't. I can. So when I share my screen with you, it removes you for a little while. Well, then that's weird.
Okay.
It's just kind of the way it works.
Gotta give Martini your screen time.
Meow.
Not to call it to Catfish Rob. All right.
All right, Western Trails League, number 132. Western Frontier Champion, Jason Brandon McCord. He wins 10 free matches. We have your Lone Star Champion, a local worker, and a machine mask. Central Plains Champion, Dream Machine. Mexico Champion, Chavez E. Chavez. Dodge City Champion, Tayosho Masakoko. Tombstone Champion, Doc Holliday. Prairie View Champion, Arkansas, Dave Rudaba. Widowmaker Champion, The Cobra, Riley Orton. Badlands Champion, Eric Haas Cartwright. Cripple Creek Champion, Disemboweler Mongrel. Southwest Champion, Disemboweler Meathook. Chisholm Trails Champion, Joseph Little Joe Cartwright. Western Frontiers Tag Team Champion, Disemboweler Meathawk and Disemboweler Mongrel. Lone Star Tag Team Champions, Flying Tyler Halabowski and Renegade Riley Reinhardt. Western Frontier Six-Man Champions, CB WC Reinhardt Sr., Air Assault WC Reinhardt Jr., and battling Jack Brocious. And your Lone Star Six-Man Champion, the Wild Card, Billy Buckshot, the Brainbow Buckshot, and Benji Buckshot. And your Bunkhouse Brawl winner, winning 33, that's right, 33 WTL matches, Tayosho Makikoso. So what's going down in the WTL? Well, I believe the next pay-per-view will be California Love. This will be the next pay-per-view. We actually have a recap for that. So let's take a look at the recap. All right, you ready?
Recap for that.
Let's do it.
This is Dirty Joe Ryder writing in with your Western Trails League recap for issue 132, Dog Days 2026, and this time we are starting where the dust gets thick, with words fired like bullets, men disappearing into dark water, machines gathering in the shadows, and California love waiting down the trail. First up, the Frontier lawman came out swinging at the whole WTL locker room. He said men used to be measured by actions instead of words, then called every wrestler in the league a liar, a gutless yellow-bellied coward, and promised they would all be dealt with by extreme justice. No exceptions. No soft targets. Just the whole territory under indictment. Then Mr. Robert Mitchum aimed his words straight at Bud Hlavin. Mitchum said Bud can draw his guns, but does not have the guts to pull the trigger. He called him all hat and no cattle, accused him of jaw-jacking without backing it up, and challenged him to either draw or leave the WTL with his tail tucked between his legs. That sounds like a man daring another man to meet him at high noon. From there, we moved into the shadow of Ricky Spanish and the fallout from that Russian death match with King Cowboy Schlitz. Schlitz left with his hand raised, but nobody walked away thinking that fight had a clean ending. That match had brick shots, thumbtacks, a bullwhip, a cowboy spur, blinding bleach, exploding barbed wire, and a ring suspended above dark water said to hold electric eels and piranhas. Schlitz won by throwing Ricky into that water, but then Ricky came back up, bloodied and alive, grabbed Schlitz, and dragged him beneath the surface. That leaves the WTL with a question nobody has answered. Did Schlitz really survive the monster he beat? Did Ricky Spanish get revenge after the bell? Did the Russian death match claim both men? Out here, some feuds end with a pinfall, some end with a submission, but that one ended with the kind of question that keeps folks looking over their shoulder. If Ricky Spanish came back once, who says he stays buried next time? Then the report shifted toward ravishing Rex Chambers, with the California Love Countdown staring everybody right in the face. Rex is still holding that Western Trails Heavyweight Championship, still carrying himself like the top man in the territory, and still headed toward Steel with only one champion walking out the other side. The picture on page 23 says it plain: Rex Chambers versus Steel is not just a title match. It is the centerpiece of the next trail. The machines were next, and that story has gone from strange to dangerous in a hurry. Professor Vitaly Medved stood beneath an industrial lamp, surrounded by Ghost Machine, Tsuyoshi Mizoku, Monster Machine, Chaos Machine, and more silent machines than the camera first let on. Medved congratulated Ghost Machine for becoming six-shooter champion, but dismissed championships as temporary measurements for individuals. According to Medved, the machines are no longer measuring individuals. Then Medved turned his words toward Steel. He said Steel may be strong, hard, proud, difficult to bend, and difficult to break, but the Industrial Revolution does not break Steel. It reshapes it. That is a cold warning, partners. Medved does not just want to beat Steel. He wants the machines to change what Steel is. The report also gave us a deeper look at why the machine storyline is working. The unmasking of Jurassic Machine as Tsuyoshi Mizoku was called an unmitigated success, with months of presentation, silence, deference, and Medved's hints all clicking into place. And WTL did not treat that reveal as the finish line. They immediately gave Mizoku a major spotlight in the 63-man Battle Royal, presenting him like an unstoppable force. What makes the machines dangerous is that nobody has been swallowed up by the story. Mizoku feels like the calculating apex predator, Monster Machine remains the overwhelming physical presence, and Ghost Machine has become the sleeper star by carrying the in-ring workload and proving the faction can back up the mystique when the bell rings. That is not just a group in masks. That is an ecosystem with Medved's vision sitting at the center of it. Then Jason Branded McCord stood backstage as the new Western Frontier champion, but he did not treat it like a celebration. He held the belt low, with grim resolve, and talked about being branded a coward, drummed out, disgraced, and forced to walk into every arena with people deciding who he was before he ever threw a punch. McCord said the title does not erase what happened to him, but it says something different now. It says he does not have to explain himself to another soul in the WTL. He knows every gunslinger in the territory is already lining up for a shot at him, and his answer was simple: let them come. That belt is not a party favor. In McCord's words, it is a receipt. Then the feed got hijacked by Redacted, who sat beneath a hanging light with a conspiracy wall behind him, talking about the IWAR draft. He said the draft is not just a draft, that other wrestlers want fame and glory, but he wants access because the truth needs a locker room pass. He wants a league to draft him so he can walk inside the walls and expose the hidden machinery behind the official story. Now, I was going to let the man ramble. Every trail has a fellow shouting at clouds. But then he put his finger on the Western Trails League and said this place is not a wrestling league. He called it Westworld. Said 90% of the wrestlers here are robots. Let me say this plain, partner, no, they are not. I call these matches. I see these men sweat, bleed, limp, argue over payouts, miss flights, take bad falls, and throw punches no machine would be foolish enough to take. The WTL is wild. The WTL is dusty. The WTL may be half mad on its calmest day. But this is flesh, bone, grit, and bad decisions, not a pack of wind-up 10 men. Redacted can keep his robot theory, his red string, his Russian hacker claims, and his files he never actually opens. He says if the WTL drafts him, he will expose our robots. I say if he gets drafted here, he better learn how to take a punch before he starts checking elbows for hinges. After that, we heard from a man looking back at the road behind him. Since Outlaw Ace and H retired, he admitted he has been doing what he needs to stay busy, but he misses that old sumbitch. They traveled together, one goal together, and now one road has ended while another keeps moving. He still has tricks up his sleeve, and in the WTL, that usually means trouble waiting just past the next bend. We also got a little piece of Buckshot Brainworm's wisdom from the Kin Whisperer. Wisdom ain't clean, it's the scar you earn after doing the hard thing you didn't want to do. Out here, that is not just a saying. That is practically a medical report. Then Steele stood in a dusty training yard and answered the whispers. Slowing down? Thinking about hanging it up? On his last ride? Steele said he is not done. Not close. Not even in the same zip code. He admitted he is no spring chicken, but said his father, IWA Hall of Famer Road Warrior Beast, taught him that as long as the fire is still burning, a man still has something to prove. Steele made the mission clear, the Western Trails Heavyweight Championship. He has fought the best, beaten the best, and stood toe-to-toe with legends, but that is the one mountain he has not climbed. Retirement can wait. Steele is chasing the biggest prize in the WTL, and when he gets that shot, he says everyone will see why the beast raised him the way he did. He is not fading, not slowing, and not done. He says this is the part of the story where Steele becomes immortal. The Young Guns kept their confidence high with the Texas Tornado tag titles in their possession. Renegade Riley Reinhardt said ever since they won the belts, every team has been lining up, pointing fingers, and calling shots. Flying Tyler Holyaboski said every duo thinks they are sharpshooters now, but the Young Guns do not run from targets, they paint them on their backs. Riley and Tyler did not win those titles to hide. They won them to fight. They know the whole league is aiming at them, and they like it that way. Their final message was simple. They have targets on their backs, and they do not miss. Bang. Bang. Finally, Special Forces took us to the motor pool, where Air Assault W.C. Reinhardt Jr., CBWC Reinhardt Sr., and Batlin Jack Brosius turned an argument over favorite MREs into a statement of purpose. Chili mac, beef stew, cheese tortellini, each man had his pick, but the point was not the food. The point was survival. They have eaten them all, fought through them all, and they are still standing stronger than any team in the Western Trails League. And that brings us to California Love, coming in October. Right now, the card has Ravishing Rex Chambers defending the Western Trails Heavyweight Championship against Steele, a 501 to Yuma #1 contender match featuring Cecil Howard Calvert, Steele, Garrett Washington Allegheny, The Pale Rider, Ghost Machine, Chavez Y. Chavez, and Jason McCord, and the 516 to Yuma match for the Texas Tornado Tag titles with the Young Guns defending against the New Kids, the Disembowelers, the Cartwrights, Chuck and Johnny Gaines, O'Donnell and Maddox, and Prince George Montgomery with Frederick Harford. The Texas Tornado six-man titles will also be on the line as the Maryland Blue Bloods defend against Special Forces in a magnificent 7 match and Dr. Payne versus. The Pale Rider has been signed as well. Yippee-ki-yay, mofo. Until next time, this is Dirty Joe Ryder, and out here in the Western Trails League, the trail may be dusty, but the trouble is always fresh.
There it is. That is your WTL recap.
Yes.
There it is. So check it out. WTL is dope. All right, Matt.
Jessica Reese has chimed in.
Oh,
Hello, welcome, Jessica Reese. She's
howdy.
Squatch. I enjoy that name. And the Queen of the Ring. Boo. All right, do you want me to do BRL next?
BRL.
All right, BRL. All right, let me zoom in here. Ooh. All right, BRL number 658. Their league champion with a 501, earning $25 in hideaway credit. Carter Matthews, PhD. Battle Royal winner, Steve Whiskey, also winning $25 in hideaway credit. Your TV champion, Sabretooth, I think it's his 4th time as TV champ. Central Plains, super sexy Shane Dowell. East Coast champion, Playboy Michael Eaves. Great Lakes champion, Crush Nutella. Middle Atlantic champion, Nocturnal Death. Northeast champion, Steve Whiskey. Pacific Northwest champion, Doc Danger Kid. Rocky Mountains champion, Agent 26. Southeast champion, Jack Whiskey. Southwest champion, Andrew Ace Armis. And your West Coast champion, getting a standing ovation. We were all thrilled to see this, Joe Tusa.
Oh,
Joe Tusa taking the West Coast championship. And not from the Battle Royal. That was an outright win right there.
straight up.
Well done. We were all pulling for Joe Tusa. I'll get that in a second. Tag champions, Sam and Jack Whiskey. Your TV tag champions, Diabolical Ricky Savage and Sid Credence. Your 6-man champions, Vex Frilly, Gallo Graves, and Nocturnal Death, The Dark Verdict. And your TV 6-man champions, the Brothers Heyman, Ripper, Bruiser, and Buster. And wanted to add about Joe Tusa, the Joe Tusa Challenge. That is standing at, after this cycle. Remember the Joe Tusa Challenge. If you win the league tag or the league 6-man, you win free matches to split with Joe. And the prize right now for tag team is 42 free matches. And the trio match pool is 57 free matches. And essentially, every match shot that misses goes towards the pool, and so far no one's been able to get there. So poor Joe has been doing all the work and everyone's failing him.
Unbelievable.
So, yeah, you know what the hell, man. The pay-per-view results in the BRL. That's the wrong page. And here, that's the wrong page. What did I do with them? Oh boy, I put them aside. So, my horrible notes. Just to go over the Autumn Anarchy 14 results. We'll have almost all the results. So, leading off. Is that, oh, it's a late one, baby.
We've done later.
Yeah. The scholar Lenny Savage defeated Shakespeare Williams in a quiz match, of which we're still working on. Welcome, Joe Austin. River Foggs was defeated by Nocturnal Death with a strong 497. American Destroyer destroyed Hollywood DVS. Joe Tusa, in a no-holds-barred match, took down Deadly Fred. And then in the
Has there ever been a
6-man
all
What's that?
holds? Has there ever been an all holds match? We have no hold.
well, I will say my
How about
favorite
all
match I
holds
ever
barred?
booked. My favorite match I booked in BRL was, I want to say, in the late 2000s, mid 2000s, and it was Mr. Armbar against the Man with No Arms. And I kept having it be a draw. Oh, running gags. Joe Tusa, well, congrats. All right, so in the 6-man title match for the Global Championship, Polar Circle, the champions, were toppled as Dark Verdict had a 520 and took down the champs and the other challengers, which is the McFlaherty brothers and Joe Tusa. The tag match with Diabolical Kingdom defending against Brothers Heyman and Bowman Bolt and Frandell Warpslayer the champs retains, the Diabolical Kingdom retains the global tag. In the North American title match, Boink, the Child Entertainer, was toppled as both he and Frandel Warpslayer were unable to beat the narcissist Lex Stevenson. And in the main event, super sexy Shane Dowell defeated Texas Jesse Tombstone because Ryan sent in a terrible strat. No, I'm kidding. No, we all did. It was a 27 cycle. And then the main event, or the co-main event, was the first Blood Battle Royal, and the winner was going to be revealed when you get the bulletin. So, there it is.
Well, there it is.
Results. Ahoy. There you go.
So we do have a BRL recap.
We do have a recap?
Yes.
All right, let's do it.
All right. Batten down the hatches for this one.
This is Dapper Dan D with your Battle Royal League recap for issue 658, Dog Days 2026. And, folks, I have reviewed the footage, read the transcripts, checked the card, rechecked the card, and then checked under my desk just to make sure Nocturnal Death was not lurking there. He was not. Thankfully. I think. We begin with the road to Autumn Anarchy, and the first thing that jumps out is that the war between the Disciples of Doom and the suburban Hell Savages is not cooling down. Hot Dollar Tough Adam Cash and Fatty the Butcher said the DoD has been reformed to honor its founders, but the best way to carry that legacy is by destroying SHS. They called for the match and made it clear Punk Rock Mike, Agent 26, Patrick O'Malley, Mike Sebastian, and anyone else wearing SHS colors are on notice. And, I would like to say for the record that I do not wear SHS colors. Cowboy Jim Spur was also feeling confident after collecting easy money from He-Man Hoven by helping remove Tsuyoshi Mizoku from the BRL. Spur said he already sent Brutal Brian Welch packing, and now he is thinking about who else might have a bounty on their head. Bowman Bolt's name came up, which feels like the kind of thing Bowman will not fully understand until he is already in trouble. Monster Truck Tanaka, meanwhile, hinted that his time in the BRL may not be over after all. He wondered if Commissioner Mad Dog might use a pick to keep him, and he was very Tanaka about it, calling himself a two-time BRL Wrestler of the Year and taking shots at Bowman Bolt and Frandel Warpslayer. The Von Snaps also had their own frustration, admitting the BRL TV tag titles may have been beneath them, but still not enjoying losing them to Society and Twisted. Then we got Fast Daddy Archon and Deadly Fred, and Fast Daddy was offended. Very offended. He complained that Deadly Fred gets Joe Tusa at the pay-per-view while Eddie is stuck in a First Blood Battle Royal, which he mostly objected to because of germs. Eddie did promise to bloody some noses, entered the Fred and Ed connection into the fall events, and then let Fred threaten Tusa for exactly half a sentence before yanking the mic back. Then Eddie's phone rang, and suddenly the big angry superstar turned into the softest husband in wrestling history. I am not judging him. I fear many people, and apparently Eddie fears grocery responsibilities. After that, Redacted returned with another distorted conspiracy broadcast, entering the IWAR draft and promising to expose the hidden machinery behind whichever league drafts him. He claimed the WTL is basically Wrestling Westworld, accused ACW of Russian election scandal business involving Luther Alexander, and said he has files on the BBL, BRL, CWL, IWL, and RTL. He ended by telling leagues not to draft a wrestler, but to draft the truth. I do not know if any of that is true, but I do know that if someone says metaphorical bodies, probably, I start walking in the opposite direction. I hope his BRL files doesn't contain anything about me. Then Dark Verdict opened court. Gavel Graves, Vex Forelli, and Nocturnal Death addressed the Autumn Anarchy Global Trios Championship match, where they will face the reigning champions, the Polar Circle, and the team of Joe Tusa with Brendan and Rory McFlaherty. Gavel said the Polar Circle are champions by possession, not permanence, while Vex promised that ice cracks when judgment burns hot enough. Then they turned to Tusa and the McFlahertys, calling them loud mouths, proud fists, and misplaced confidence. But the real chill came when Dark Verdict addressed River the Ferryman Foggs. Foggs wanted Nocturnal Death in a cage full of weapons, and Gavel made the warning simple: Nocturnal Death will not be locked in a cage with River Foggs. River Fogs will be locked in a cage with him. No witnesses. No rescue. No mercy. No thank you, by the way. I would like my cages empty and my weapons somewhere very far away. Shakespeare Williams continued his own Autumn Anarchy build with the teacher and the scholar, aimed directly at Lenny Savage. Shakespeare framed the quiz match like a classroom, calling himself the teacher with the sharpened quill and warning Savage that his answers would falter while Shakespeare commanded the board. That is beautiful, threatening, and also exactly why I never liked oral exams. The diabolical kingdom had scores to settle too. Ricky Savage said Uncle McAllister could not beat the madness without brass knuckles, while Lenny and Sid complained that one of them should have been the first TGS champion instead of Punk Rock Mike. Uncle Randy also landed on their bad side for eliminating Sid Credence, and by the end of it, Punk Rock Mike, Uncle Randy, and Uncle McAllister were all warned that the Savage era does not forget. Then the kingdom gathered beside a private jet, headed for Autumn Anarchy. Ricky and Sid promised to retain the global tag team titles in the triple threat against the brothers Heyman and Bowman Bolt with Frandel Warpslayer. Lex Stevenson promised to take the North American Championship from Boink, and Lenny Savage said Shakespeare Williams would discover that literature does not prepare a man for the scholar. For men, for opportunities, and one very loud warning, the anarchy is about to become pure madness. One of the more emotional moments came from the Playboy Mike Ferrari and the Kansas City Kid. Ferrari told the Kid he was leaving the BRL and entering the 2026 IWAR draft. But before he left, he told the Kid that his training was over. The Kansas City Kid no longer needs to be known as Mike Ferrari's student. Now people need to know the Kansas City Kid. That was actually kind of touching. I mean, not enough for me to stop being nervous, but touching. The McFlaherty brothers also checked in from the pub, which is shocking because I assumed they were always in a pub unless proven otherwise. They hyped their IWAR draft entry, saying everybody already knows who they are and what they offer, but Brendan also explained where he was back in Ireland handling legal complications involving the regulators. Naturally, the segment turned into a barroom brawl with Joe Tusa cracking someone over the head with a chair. So yes, it appears Tusa fits right in. In the BRL offices, Rachel Yamazaki and Lindland Saraki tried to sort out the Polar Circle's IWAR draft situation, which somehow involved concerns about Snapsy, salmiakki, skipper's pipes, and sauna temperatures meeting minimum finish standards. Then Professor Vitaly Medved appeared to announce that Polar Circle's owner had changed his mind and wanted to keep them in the BRL. That may be the most finished contract dispute I have ever heard of, and I once read an entire waiver about sauna liability. Accidentally. Carter Matthews, PhD, then caught up with Rachel about the Pete Monsters already winning their series against Bowman Bolt and Frandel Warpslayer, even though the Angle seems to still believe the series is happening. Rachel also clarified that moving Mazoku was a business decision and absolutely not because of Jim Spur. Not adjacent to because of Jim Spur. Not even near because of Jim Spur. Which, means it might have been at least a little because of Jim Spur. Pain and Destruction had plenty to say. Greg Garner celebrated winning King of the Ring and taking the Grand Slam Championship from Punk Rock Mike. He told Greggy that Money has never wrestled a machine like him, then warned Shakespeare Williams that their war is not over. American Destroyer was furious over Dynasty humiliating him, and Pat later attacked Dynasty at a children's charity ice cream stand, driving them through tables. I repeat, children's charity ice cream stand. That is not a sentence a nervous reporter likes saying out loud. Frandel Warpslayer and Bowman Bolt brought their own chaos. Frandel claimed the Pete Monsters now own the Team ACE name, then announced his new Space Hunter Observation/Obliteration team. He also said Bowman Bolt had been assigned to go after Lenny Savage in a bounty brawl. Bowman, meanwhile, wanted Punk Rock Mike after being thrown out of the Grand Slam Battle Royal and tried to explain the bounty brawl as something like a cash-on-a-pole match with $500,000 on the line. I am not sure I followed all of that, but I did hear $500,000 and immediately checked my wallet. Still empty. The suburban Hell Savages responded from their headquarters, training while discussing the DoD. Punk Rock Mike said he learned the lesson from Adam's CAHS attack, but he is focused on regaining the Grand Slam Championship from Greg Garner. Agent 26 made it clear SHS would gladly answer the DoD's attack at Autumn Anarchy, and Mike warned that if Cash wants war with the Savages, he will get it. That whole room sounded like punching bags being murdered. I'm glad I was not one of the bags. Then Boink the child entertainer addressed Lex Stevenson and Frandel Warpslayer from what looked like a birthday party gone horribly wrong. Boink said Lex thinks he turned the North American Championship into a joke, but asked why nobody was laughing when he took the title. He mocked the Lex Express with a toy train, stopped it with a tiny plastic clown, and reminded everyone that the title is not Lex's. It is Boink's. Boink also said Frandel is dangerous and Lex is full of confidence, ego, big muscles, promises, and apparently empty presence. He made it clear that people keep underestimating him, and at Autumn Anarchy he plans to bring the surprises. His final punchline was simple: the clown wins again. I do not like clowns, I do not like surprises, and I especially do not like surprise clowns with championships. The Armas Collection Agency officially expanded. Alex and Andrew Armas said Dark Danger and King Khan still have outstanding accounts, but now the business is moving beyond debts and into championships. Tag titles, regional titles, national titles, world titles, anything with gold attached to it. If a champion holds something valuable, the Armas brothers now see that as temporary ownership. By the end, Alex and Andrew made the company policy very clear: no extensions, no forgiveness, no exceptions. Outstanding debts will be collected, and outstanding championships will be acquired. I do not owe them money. I do not have championships. I would still like written confirmation that I am not on their desk. Super Sexy Shane Dowell spoke as the BRL Global Champion and addressed Texas Jesse Tombstone. Dowell gave Jesse respect as a former IWA World Champion and world-class main eventer, but warned him not to confuse respect with surrender. Dowell said Jesse knows how to climb the mountain, while Dowell knows how to own it. At Autumn Anarchy, he does not plan to relinquish the Global Championship. He plans to keep it around his waist. Finally, Saul Heyman delivered a statement for the brothers Heyman. He accused Ricky Savage and Sid Creedence of finding loopholes and adding complications to avoid facing the Heymans directly. But Saul said the loopholes have run out. Triple threat, four-way, six-man tag, whole locker room, it does not matter. The Heymans want Ricky, Sid, and the Global Tag Team Championships. Saul called Buster and Bruiser an extinction-level event, which is another phrase I would prefer not to hear near a wrestling ring. Now let's move to Tuesday Night Grand Slam, where the road to Autumn Anarchy took a few sharp turns and one of them may have involved a steel chain. I am against steel chains, personally. In general. Near me. Anywhere. The show opened with El Grandioso defeating Fatty the Butcher. Fatty used his experience and size early, but El Grandioso's momentum carried him through, and he hit the grand finale for the win. The commentary team made it clear El Grandioso keeps stacking victories and may be positioning himself for something bigger. Then the McFlaherty brothers faced the Hillbillies, but they had Autumn Anarchy on their minds. The Polar Circle appeared at the top of the entranceway, did not touch anyone, did not approach the ring, and still changed the match. Brendan got distracted, the Hillbillies hit the holler drop, and the McFlahertys suffered a shocking upset. Technically not interference. Emotionally, oh, that was interference with extra steps. I also tried, and I do mean tried, to get answers from the scholar Lenny Savage about his quiz match with Shakespeare Williams. Unfortunately, Savage told me I should spend more time studying if I wanted to understand. So now I know exactly as much as before, except I feel academically insulted. At ringside, Shooter Simmons and Rick Challenger guessed it could be multiple choice, literature trivia, spelling, or maybe all of the above. Nobody knows. That is the scary part. Then Joe Tusa faced Lenny Savage, and Savage stole one. Tusa used his power, but Savage relied on speed, strategy, and a willingness to bend the rules. Late in the match, he caught Tusa in a schoolboy and grabbed the tights. The referee missed it, counted 3, and Tusa was left furious. I would not want Joe Tusa furious at me. I would not want Joe Tusa mildly inconvenienced at me. The main event saw Punk Rock Mike defend the Grand Slam Championship against Big Gun's Greg Garner. Garner tried to overpower him, but Punk Rock Mike was fighting back until River Fogs and American Destroyer headed toward ringside. Agent 26 and Patrick O'Malley cut them off, the referee got distracted, and then everything went sideways. Garner had a steel chain hidden in his corner, but before he could get it, Adam Cash jumped the guardrail and snatched it first. Then Cash shocked everyone by blasting Punk Rock Mike with Garner's chain. Garner looked surprised, but he did not waste the opportunity. He hit his neckbreaker, covered Punk Rock Mike, and became the new Grand Slam champion. The big question is whether Adam Cash deliberately helped Garner win or whether this was a DOD warning to pain and destruction that just happened to put the title in Garner's hands. Either way, Garner was not giving the belt back. The reaction afterwards said it all. LePage Turner enjoyed Punk Rock Mike losing the title, while another reaction noted that nobody knows why Adam Cash hit Mike with Garner's chain, but it sure looks like the truce between DOD and SHS is over. And, if the truce is over, I would like to formally request that nobody start the next fight near the interview area. And that brings us to next cycle, Autumn Anarchy, live from Camden Yards in Baltimore, Maryland, and this card is loaded. Loaded in the fun way for fans. Loaded in the terrifying way for anyone who owns a microphone and has to stand near these people. At the top, super sexy Shane Dowell defends the Global Championship against Texas Jesse Tombstone in a battle of former IWA champions. The Global Tag Team Championships are on the line as Ricky Savage and Sid Credence defend against the brothers Heyman and Bowman Bolt with Frandel Warpslayer. The North American Championship has Boink the Child Entertainer defending against Frandel Warpslayer and Lex Stevenson. The last Blood Battle Royal may be the most dangerous match on the show, with the winner being the last one left who has not bled. The listed competitors are Carter Matthews, PhD, Big Guns Greg Garner, Hot Dollar Tough Adam Cash, Fast Eddie Archon, Uncle McAllister, Punk Rock Mike, Agent 26, Dark Danger, and a mystery entry. I am not entering. I am not the mystery entry. Please stop looking at me like that. Also on the card, Deadly Fred faces Joe Tusa in No Holds Barred, American Destroyer faces Hollywood DVS, River the Ferryman Foggs faces Nocturnal Death inside a steel cage full of weapons, and the Scholar Lenny Savage faces Shakespeare Williams in a quiz match/Jeopardy match. The Global Trios Championship also features the Polar Circle defending against Dark Verdict and the team of Brendan McFlaherty, Rory McFlaherty, and Joe Tusa. So there it is. This is Dapper Dan D, and I will see you at Autumn Anarchy, preferably from a safe distance, behind reinforced glass, with no clowns, no cages, and absolutely no one asking me a question in the form of an answer.
That is your BRL recap. Matt, do you have
Boom.
anything to add to that?
We'll work on it next time to get it a little shorter, but there's a lot in there.
There's a lot going on. That's probably the busiest league. So kind of expect those to go.
There
long.
is, but it's a big league, lots of players, and that's great.
You can only imagine how long these recaps would be when we had 4 leagues, and every league was stacked.
Oh yeah, that was quite. Every league had 100 matches, 100 cards. The good old days. Although we might get there again soon. Oh man. Yeah, I mean the BRL is just so action packed, and there's so much going on. And I want to mention that Jimmy Jensen, who was the man behind the Tuesday Night Grand Slam, is taking a break from the game. He has a lot going on in his life. And he was like, kind of on the fence. He's like, you know what? I just got to take care of this stuff. So totally understand. So as luck would have it, I was like, kicking around with some of the guys. And I was like, wait a minute. So Gary Morris has agreed to step up, and he'll be booking Tuesday Night Grand Slam, and he'll be handling the draft. So we're working on a lot of stuff with BRL. And, we're in a good spot, but there's a lot of, draft preview here, but there's a lot of BRL stars declare for the draft. So, part of that game is who can I retain, who I lose, who can I replace. So we're looking at doing that. So more to come there.
More to come. All right, where do you want to go next?
You want to bang out the RTL?
RTL it is. Alrighty. Rolling Thunder League number 62 Dog Days 2026. Your league impact champion is Monica Muy Grande, League Impact Tag Team Champions Derek Cash Styles and Thomas T.D. Banks. League Impact Trios Champion Indian Assassin Kenna Deep, Indian Assassin Balls Deep, and Indian Champion Vijay Deep. Your TV Impact Champion Automatic Slim. Japan Impact Champion Double D Christoph. Mexico Impact Champion Timmy 2 Cents. UK Impact Champion Billionaire Bum Remington B. Vanderbilt. Rocky Mountain Impact Champion Lane Shaddix. Great Lakes Impact Champion Monica Rapitu. True North Impact Champion The Sugar Dog. East South Impact Champion Eagle Eye Marksman. West Coast Champion Mises. East Coast Impact Champion No Miss G. Uner. Willowback Impact Champion The Great Entertainer Brian Clothier. TV Impact Champion Bottleneck and Mellow. TV Impact Trio Champions Monica Gigante, Monica Esmeralda, and Monica Rapitu. And your Battle Royal winner winning 29. That's right, 29 free RTL matches to be 2 cents. So what's going down in the RTL? What do we got? We got a pay-per-view coming up, I'm assuming. I think we do. Oh. Thunder Thursdays. Fantastic. I love it. Oh, I love all this. I think I do have a recap for the RTL.
You should.
I should, yes. Okay. You guys ready? Let's go.
This is Jerry Ringer coming to you with your Rolling Thunder League recap for issue 62, Dog Days 2026. And folks, the road to unnatural disaster is getting downright dangerous. We start backstage with G-Force Gary Morris standing alone with the RTL True Impact Tag Team Championship around his waist and the NWL National Tag Team Championship over his shoulder. No interviewer, no music, no distractions. Just Morris and what he called Ballist. Papacito was at the top of that list because of what he did to Remington B. Vanderbilt. Morris accused him of trying to turn a kidnapping into a righteous act, calling him a champion who got hit with a crutch and decided kidnapping was the answer. Then Morris turned to Greg E. Money. Greg got to Vanderbilt first with Caldwell, but Morris was not impressed. Winning lethal lottery with him does not make Greg family, does not make him a friend, and does not make him Maryland militia. Morris pointed to his 2 tag team championships as proof he already knew how to win with a partner before Greg's name was ever pulled next to his. Morris also warned Hawthorne Caldwell. He understands Caldwell is Vanderbilt's lawyer and is protecting his client, but every time Caldwell's responsibility interferes with Maryland militia business, it gets closer to becoming Morris's problem. The come-up were not spared either. Savion Banks questioned whether Brian Clothier carried Morris and whether there were cracks forming inside Maryland militia. Morris called it cute, then reminded the come-up that they already had 2 shots, graduation and homecoming, and failed both times. And finally, Morris addressed Prophets of Pain. This is not new business. This is bad history. They lost the RTL True Impact Tag Team titles to Maryland Militia at the last pay-per-view, and now they come back under the New Money Inc. umbrella, carrying Greg E. Money's fingerprints with them. Morris said Prophets of Pain get handled first at Unnatural Disaster, Papacito gets handled last, and everyone else can decide if they still want their name on the list. Gary Morris. Too many enemies, perhaps not enough allies. From there, Hawthorne Caldwell tried to reason with Remington B. Vanderbilt, which is never an easy job. Caldwell stood beside a row of trash cans, dressed for court, while Vanderbilt was halfway inside the garbage looking for opportunity. Caldwell tried to sell him on New Money Inc., structure, protection, opportunity, Greg E. Money understanding value. But Vanderbilt only wanted to know one thing. Would they let him carry the bags? That tells you where RBV's head is. He likes his life. He likes carrying bags, and when Caldwell said New Money Inc. would refine him, Vanderbilt heard change. When Caldwell asked him to stop digging through the trash, Vanderbilt's look said more than any contract ever could. Then we went to the come-ups locker room, where Savion Banks, Crush Groove, and Andre Carrington had plenty to say. Banks said confident men do not trash commissioner offices. And confident men do not get jittery because the come-up might be drafted into the RTL. In his view, Morris and Clothier are showing fear, jealousy, and envy because the come-up keep getting better. Then came Brian Clothier, and when the great entertainer hits the stage, subtlety leaves the building. The lights went out, the Thundertron glitched, and Clothier came out with the true Impact Blockbuster Championship ready to verbally dismantle Josue. Clothier called Josue a valet, a gopher, an errand boy, the guy who gets coffee, towels, and parking spots. He said Josue's greatest accomplishment was holding the door for someone important, and even compared him to RBV, not the billionaire, but the bum. The main point was simple. At unnatural disaster, Josue cannot hide behind Papacito. He has to stand alone, and Clothier believes that is where Josue falls apart. Clothier closed by calling himself the engineer of the money train, the one the fans come to see, and the great entertainer. Then things got wild on Thunder Thursday. RBV was at a lonely gas station asking for spare change while Greggy Money and Caldwell waited beside an SUV. Greg could not believe a billionaire was holding everyone up over 75 cents, while Caldwell had already counted the 22 cents Vanderbilt collected. But then Papacito and Josue arrived in a black limousine. Greg loaded everyone into the SUV. Josue gave chase, and the whole thing headed straight toward the RTL Thunderdome. Papacito told Greg to pull over. Greg said no. Papacito said okay. Then Josue rammed the SUV. Wrestling, ladies and gentlemen, wrestling. The chase spilled into the arena parking structure and then backstage. Greg, Caldwell, and Vanderbilt tried to get away. Papacito and Josue stormed in. Greg charged Papacito, and Josue threw Greg into equipment cases. Vanderbilt, of course, stopped long enough to ask me for spare change. Not now, Remington. Not now. Then Papacito found Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt told him, "You owe me change." Before Papacito could process that, Morris blasted him from behind and said, "Believe it." Clothier and Josue brawled into the arena, and suddenly the whole building erupted. Josue sent Clothier through the timekeeper's table. Papacito attacked Morris's injured knee and drove it into the steel steps. Then Papacito and Morris ended up face-to-face in the ring with the True Impact Heavyweight Championship between them. Morris said, "No desert, no limo, no running. This is where it ends." Papacito's answer was simple. Try. Elsewhere, sensational Scott Foley reminded everyone he is undefeated in the RTL. One cycle, one match, one win. And Foley says that is proof the balance of power shifted the moment he arrived. Major Trouble also checked in, and I liked the tone. Major America and Major Devastation called the RTL Tag Team Division loaded, stacked, and a combat zone, and said that is exactly why they are here. Major Trouble does not climb mountains, they take them. Then we saw the heartthrob Dan Corvette at the doctor's office. Corvette admitted Brian Clothier beat him with no excuses, but said there is a difference between being the better man one night and being the best wrestler in the RTL every night. The doctor cleared him, and Corvette announced that on August 25th, redemption begins. The Indian Assassins warned Brian Clothier, Gary Morris, and Remington Vanderbilt. They called the militia 3 egos, 3 walking targets, and promised that when the assassins are done, the only words Maryland militia will understand are pain, defeat, and silence. I, Jerry Ringer, completely agree with the Indian Assassins about Clothier and Morris and their egos. But RBV, I don't see it. And Bullseye Syndicate closed that stretch with change in the air. Double D. Christoph said Greg E. Money keeps talking about retiring him, but he is not leaving quietly. Mark Smen said September is where the real hunt begins, and G. Unner said he is done being overlooked, done being pushed around, and done missing. Now let's shift to Thunder Thursday, because that show was all about setting the table for unnatural disaster. The show opened live from the Thunderdome with fans loud, New Money Inc. signs everywhere, and the energy feeling like the building was ready to explode. At the desk, Jim Ross, Bobby Dubrain, and Colt Patrick got everyone caught up. Major Trouble had replaced the Makinas in the #1 contender match after the Indian Assassins attacked the Makinas before the show. That opened the door for Bullseye Syndicate against Major Trouble, and Bullseye stole the victory. Major Trouble brought the power, but Smen and Unner used veteran timing, survived the brawl outside, and took advantage of a referee distraction to steal the win. Then Hydro met Stylen Savian Banks. Hydro brought strength, but Banks brought precision. After countering Hydro's flow, Banks hit the withdrawal and scored the victory. The come-up's confidence is not just talk. The Tokyo Terror Commission warned the Makinas that the Freebird rule will not save them at unnatural disaster, and they told the Indian Assassins to stay out of TTC business or get squashed. Then Makina Giganta defeated Iceman to earn the right to face Pandemic. After the match, Michael Martin came out and declared Pandemic's chapter of destruction officially written. While Pandemic made it clear that something violent is waiting on the horizon. Next, New Money Inc. defeated Bullseye Syndicate in a 3-on-3 match to determine the stipulation for Double D Christoph against Greg E. Money. Greg caught Mark Smen with a low blow, followed by a stunner, and New Money Inc. claimed the advantage heading into unnatural disaster. Then I interviewed Greg E. Money, and he revealed the match with Double D would be no holds barred with a special guest referee. But before he could name that referee, Papacito and Josue stormed in, pulled Greg a fraud, Maryland militia arrived, Prophets of Pain joined the fight, and the interview area turned into chaos. Greg escaped with Sarah B., Caldwell, and Vanderbilt in a limousine while everyone else kept brawling. And that brings us to Unnatural Disaster. Live from Madison Square Garden on September 16th, 2026. The main event is Da headline Papacito defending the RTL True Impact Heavyweight Championship against G-Force Gary Morris. The rest of the card is just as loaded. Brian Clothier defends the True Impact Blockbuster Championship against Josue. Maryland Militia defend the True Impact Tag Team Championships against Prophets of Pain. The Tokyo Terror Commission defend the True Impact Trios Championship against the Makinas. Pandemic faces a mystery opponent in the Pandemic Challenge, and in a no-holds-barred match, Double D Christoph faces Greg E. Money. So there it is, Morris and Papacito in the main event. Clothier and Josue ready to settle whether the bodyguard can stand on his own. Prophets of Pain trying to take back the gold. New Money Inc. and Double D heading into no-holds-barred territory. Pandemic waiting for whoever is brave or foolish enough to step in front of him. And the Makinas trying to survive the Tokyo Terror Commission. This is Jerry Ringer, and I'll tell you this much. When unnatural disaster strikes, there is nowhere to hide.
There it is. That is your RTL update.
You can run, but you can't hide.
You can't. Matt, where you want to go from here?
Oh, I can do CWL.
CWL it is.
All right, CWL. Alrighty. Okay, so number 360, Dog Days. Your league champion, Titus Castle. Your TV champion, Cienda Snai. U.S. champion, The Reprobate, Lenny Teague. Yukon champion, Battle Axe. Caribbean champion, Haden Wong. Amazon Basin champion, Axel Von Schnapp. Your British Isles champion, Thrash. Your Arabian champion, Barry USA Stevens.
No, he's still around.
You know, that was his first regional of the year.
Really?
Yeah. It's been a rough year for me. South African champion, Prime Sean Erickson. Siberian champion, the Major Benefactor. East Asian champion Armageddon, and Oceania champion Alex Von Schnapp. Your league tag champions Adrian Vale and Julian Cross. Your TV tag champions Major Benny Facta and Genuine Artificial. Your league six-man champions Adrian Vale, Julian Cross, and Victor Kane. Your TV six-man champions the Von Schnapps. And your Battle Royal winner getting 0 free matches, Axel Von Schnapp.
Unbelievable.
I know, right? He's like, man, a bummer. So, yes. So let's see what's going on around here. Well, I will say again, the report by Jeremy is great. The CWL magazine, always a fun read. Just great, well done. I just love the images. Collision results are probably going to be covered in the recap, so I won't do them here. I'll just say that, the IWAR draft's coming up. Ooh, I got tired. You're tired. And, yeah, so lots going on. So let's hit that recap and get that out of the way.
You got it. Boop, 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 boop.
This is Ellie Edner with your Continental Wrestling League recap for the Dog Days 2026 cycle. And folks, Cosmic Collision may be over, but the shockwaves are still moving through the CWL. Before we get to the pay-per-view itself, we need to talk about the final lead-in moments. We start backstage with Lily Rowan standing beside Mark the Fan Botch, who was trying to sound confident before facing the Zodiac horoscope. Botch admitted he was still feeling the effects of Mean Mr. Fist, joking that he got punched so hard his ancestors felt it, but he also saw Cosmic Collision as his chance to rebound. Botch knew horoscope could get inside people's heads with all the stars, planets, retrogrades, and cosmic warnings, but he made one thing clear: at Cosmic Collision, the stars were not getting in the ring with him. Horoscope was. Botch said he still had heart, effort, fans who believed in him, and most importantly, the fan hug. And in classic Botch fashion, he closed with maybe the best line of his career: horoscope would see stars, not because of astrology, but because of the fan hug. Then he immediately realized the line was actually pretty good and asked Lily if they could keep it. Then Mean Mr. Fist stood alone in the CWL ring. No music, no interviewer, just Fist, a microphone, and a packed arena. He looked ahead to the Internet Championship Elimination Chamber and said it was him and 5 silly little bitches, and everybody already knew how that ended. But then he turned his attention to the IWAR draft. Fist said he might not go number 1, and that was fine with him. He is not pretty, flashy, or headed for a child's lunchbox. He called himself a bona fide menace, a badass, a worker, and a guy who gets his hands dirty. Draft the pretty boys first, he said, because eventually someone is going to need the work done. And when they do, they will say, get fists. We also heard from the reborn Jonathan Davis, and this was not the old scheming Jonathan Davis. This was testimony. Davis said he once believed the only way to reach the top was to manipulate, scheme, and take power, but Thandy's Night showed him the difference between having power and having purpose. Davis said the old Jonathan Davis was gone, and the championships he held were not proof of what he had accomplished. They were proof of what happens when a man learns to trust. He called himself the example of what the new covenant can do, and he ended with a question: what will the reborn do with everything he has been given? Then it was time for Cosmic Collision, live from Uranus, Missouri. And yes, Gordon Tenney, Gibbon Storm, and Robbie the Cranium Nahon got exactly as much mileage out of that as you would expect. 8 matches, 3 championships, Hell in a Cell, an elimination chamber, and one very unusual venue. The show opened with Mark the Fan Botch against the Zodiac horoscope. Cope tried to control the match early, going to the eyes and working Botch over, but Botch kept surviving. Cope got frustrated, Botch found his moment, and when he locked in the big fan hug, Horace had nowhere to go. Cope tapped, and Mark Botch defeated the Zodiac. Next, the reprobate Lenny Teague faced Happy Meal in a #1 contender match for the CWL Internet Championship. Happy Meal brought the size, the creep factor, and that awful sack of fried rats, but Lanny survived the early attack, fought back, and hit the Mercury to earn the Internet Championship opportunity. Barry USA Stevens and Uncle Slam then met in the Battle for America. It was supposed to settle who truly represented the country, but instead the American Patriot jumped the barricade and laid out both men with the Moab. Barry and Uncle Slam fought to a draw, and Patriot planted the flag in the middle of the ring like he had just claimed the whole argument for himself. The Von Snaps challenged the Cowboy Killers for the CWL World Tag Team Championships next. Lanny had already wrestled once, and the Von Snaps were smart enough to target him. Trucker Van Leer brought the fight when he finally got the tag, but the damage had been done. The Von Snaps trapped Lanny, hit the double team spike powerbomb, and became the new CWL World Tag Team Champions. Then the Von Snaps turned right around and defended the CWL World Six-Man Tag Team Championship against the Immortal Dynasty. There were belts, distractions, Victor Sr. on the apron, and plenty of chaos, but when it counted, the Von Snaps hit the Von Eruption on Phil Landers and retained the six-man titles. The Elimination Chamber for the CWL Internet Championship was next, and that match turned into disaster. Scapegoat, Trucker Van Leer, Mean Mr. Fist, Picasso, Chameleon, and Thandy's Night all entered, and Scapegoat managed to talk himself into a 3-on-1 beating before being the first eliminated. Trucker went next after Mean Mr. Fist hit the incapacitator, then Fist himself was eliminated after Picasso and Chameleon teamed up long enough to take him down. Picasso was eliminated by Chameleon, leaving Chameleon and Thandy's Night as the final two. They fought until neither man had much left, and then Chameleon climbed to the top of a pod. Nye moved, Chameleon crashed through the pod roof, and before either man could finish the match, the giant Welcome to Uranus billboard collapsed onto the chamber. The match ended in a no contest, the Internet Championship remained undecided, and Cosmic Collision had one of the wildest endings the CWL has ever seen. After that, Hell in a Cell came down for the author of Agony LePage Turner and Late Night Logan Kane. This was exactly the bloodbath everyone feared it would be. They fought before the bell, bled early, used the cell, used weapons, and kept surviving each other's biggest shots. In the end, Turner hit 3 alternate endings and finally put Kane away. Then came the main event. Hypnotic defended the CWL World Heavyweight Championship against Reborn Jonathan Davis. Hypnotic attacked the back and midsection, trying to take away Fall from Grace, but Davis kept surviving. Hypnotic hit Mind Games and still could not finish him. Davis blocked the second attempt, landed Fall from Grace, and scored the 3 count. Jonathan Davis defeated Hypnotic and became the new CWL World Heavyweight Champion. And after Cosmic Collision, the fallout began. The Cowboy Killers returned in Trailer Park Confessions with Lenny Teague, Trucker Van Leer, and Lori Teague sitting in the old Aggressive Intentions meeting place. The reunion may be uncertain and on hold, but Lanny and Trucker made it clear that family still means something to them. Their boys may not be around for a while, but they are carrying the flag. The American Patriot finally explained why he took out both Barry Stevens and Uncle Slam. He said he was tired of both men acting like they alone spoke for America. Left wing, right wing, red, blue, Patriot said he is not fighting for a side. He is fighting for the whole country, and from now on, he will clip both wings if he has to. The Chameleon also had plenty to say after the chamber catastrophe. He insisted the falling sign did not save him, it stopped him from winning. Scapegoat, Trucker, Fist, and Picasso were gone, and it was down to Chameleon and Thandy's Nye. Now with Lenny Teague also in the title picture, Chameleon said he will take either man or both, because next time nothing is keeping him from the Internet Championship. The Immortal Dynasty were not ready to let the Von Snaps 6-man title defense stand without an argument. Benny Factor, Artie Fishel, and Phil Landers said the Von Snaps survived them, not beat them. They blamed Victor Sr., distractions, belts, and chaos, then looked ahead to holiday hostility, promising no shortcuts and no dad saving the day next time. And finally, Horace Cope returned to the Freak Show to explain away his loss to Mark Botch. According to the Zodiac, it was not a defeat. It was a cosmic malfunction. Mercury was unstable, Saturn was out of position, Mars threw off his aggression cycle, and Uranus, well, Horace did not even want to get started on Uranus. He said Botch's big fan hug was only a moment, and next time, the planets will not be confused. With Comic Collision in the rearview mirror, we now set the sights towards holiday hostility, coming live from Santa Claus, Indiana. This is Ellie Edner, and after Cosmic Collision, one thing is clear, the CWL did not just change champions. It changed direction.
And that is your CWL recap. So, Matt, where are we off to next?
Yes. Oh my God! I would say, what? How's about IWL?
IWL. Okay.
IWL.
IWL Independent Wrestling League number 230. League champion on points, Edward Parthenon. Television champion, Magnificent Marvin Moyer. New York City champion, Bob Bonecutter. Los Angeles champion, Pop Culture, Peter Cross. Boston champion, Algo Backstar. Detroit champion, Magnificent Astro. Cleveland champion, Gas Station, Richard Pills. Dallas champion, Shotgun Assassin. Memphis champion, The Count, Chauncey Reynolds. Miami champion, Death Valley Drifter. San Francisco champion, Sugar Daddy. Chicago champion, Mastermind. League Tag Team Champions, Propaganda Commanda and Sven Melamescas. TV Tag Team Champions, the Heartstopper Milo Cartitis and the Heartstopper Pericarditis. League Six-Man Champion, the Gambler Jackson Mississippi Electric Tesla Blanchard and Gas Station Richard Pills. TV Six-Man Champion, the Honorable Guilty as Hell Paralegal and Litigation. And your Battle Royal winner winning 44 free IWL matches, Magnificent Astro. So what's going down in the IWL? Well, I'm sure the recap's going to have everything that we need in there. We'll find out. Let me see. I have them in two different spots, so that's why I have to.
Nice.
Well, that's because they generated half of them, and then Gary generated the other half, so that's why. IWL. Here it is. Nope. Oh. Let's go back. I got Blood Myth. I got NWL. Oh, here it is. Alright. We're going to go 3, 2, and 1.
This is Gene Mean with your Independent Wrestling League recap for issue 230, Dog Days 2026. And this cycle gave us a little bit of everything. Challenges being made, old grudges getting reopened, tag teams setting their sights on gold, and a few men making it very clear they are not done climbing. We start with Death Valley Drifter, who is not in a reflective mood. Last cycle, he talked about Vector throwing him out of the Battle Royal. This time, it was Big Rye who sent him out on his backside, and Drifter had one question: who exactly is Big Rye? Well, he intends to find out in the ring, because he has officially taken the challenge to Big Rye to see how he does in a real match. Then Magnifico Astro had a quick but pointed message for Sam Hain. Astro said the series has been going on, but Hain lost to him again, and the best of 3 went to Astro. That was not a long speech. That was a victory lap, and Astro made sure everyone knew he thought a pat on the back was in order. Los Astros also checked in, and their focus was simple: Tag Team Gold. Excellent Astro said they have been without Tag Gold for far too long, while Ultimo Astro said he can feel that the gold will soon be theirs. Short, direct, and confident, exactly the kind of message that tells the IWL Tag Division they are watching the belts closely. From there, the Shotgun Kid spoke about being out on his own again. He made it clear this is not about disliking Brady Buckshot. It is about needing to do his own thing, chase accomplishments he has not yet reached in the IWL, and prove he can ride his own trail. Shotgun Kid says it is time to ride, and that sounds like a man ready for a fresh singles push. The Heartstoppers, Myocarditis and Pericarditis, appeared with a message of good luck to Tommy Zulu as he begins his series in pursuit of 3rd place in the Battle of the Best tournament. It was presented like a glossy poster, but the message still matters. The Heartstoppers are visible, confident, and still carrying themselves like champions. Then the tone changed when Sam Hain stepped back into the spotlight. The page reminded everyone of Hain's IWL accomplishments: 3-time league champion, 2-time television champion, Battle Royal winner, January 2026 IWA Southwest champion, and 2025 Stable of the Year with SOS. Haynes said he had been gone because his body needed time to heal, not because he lost his hunger or edge. Now he is back, and he has two things on his mind: Wrestler of the Year and Championship Gold. Haynes did not care whether the Highwayman or the Chameleon is holding gold when his opportunity comes. By the end of the year, he says one of those championships will belong to him. Then he turned toward my two dads and made the warning bigger: he did not come back alone. Christopher Kane and 13 are coming with him, and they have developed an appetite for the IWL World Tag Team Championships. Sam Hain is healthy, focused, and back for everything. The IWA Network then continued its exclusive sit-down with the forever champ Tommy Zulu, hosted by Stephanie Gallows, looking back at Zulu's complicated history with Edge. Zulu talked about how, after returning in late 2020, he found himself constantly at odds with Edge leadership. He said it reached the point where he could barely say anything without someone from Edge disagreeing, even on the smallest things. Zulu explained that this eventually led him to put together Virus behind the scenes with Tony Pessant, Sly Smith, Belcher, and Drake. According to Zulu, Virus did not just win, they targeted leagues run by specific Edge managers and neutralized them, changing the direction of the next several years. Things later broke down between Zulu and Virus, but by then, he felt the damage had already been done. The interview then moved into the thawing of the Zulu/Edge hostility. Zulu said time has a way of cooling old arguments, and after NME's later run began to fall apart, he reached out to Edge leadership. The hatchet got buried, history was not erased, but they stopped carrying it around. By early 2024, Zulu and some of his guys became the newest members of Edge, giving the winningest stable in IWA history new life. Zulu also addressed his current challenges. He admitted he is still trailing Big Rye in GDP, but said he feels focused in a way he has not been in a long time. He also gave credit to Caleb Crawdad for beating him in their best of the best semi-final series, saying Caleb was the better manager and earned it. As far as Zulu is concerned, that feud is over, even if he still thinks inter-stable teaming is dumb. The cycle closed with one of the strangest battles on the page: Swamp Sock Jr. inside the steel cage laundromat against Agent Sweater, with the golden Twinkie glowing between them. The cage was lined with rotating washing machine agitators and high-voltage spin dryers, and Agent Sweater charged like a woolly mammoth while Swamp tried to survive the final spin cycle. Swamp took serious punishment, but Starsock Sr. and Starlight helped turn the tide with contraband fabric softener beads, reducing Agent Sweater's friction to zero and sending him into a high-voltage spin dryer. The shock shrank Agent Sweater from 5XL down to youth medium, which is not usually a wrestling strategy, but in the IWL, apparently it counts. Then litigation, senior legal counsel for the Threat Investigation Bureau, stormed in to file injunctions, seized the golden Twinkie, and threatened a subpoena submission match. But litigation's own synthetic polyester suit exposed him as a plastic fraud, and that turned Agent Sweater against his own legal counsel. Agent Sweater trapped Lee in a shrunken full Nelson. Swamp climbed the cage with the golden Twinkie, and then came crashing down with a double rotation cosmic elbow drop. Litigation was dissolved into confetti, revoked licenses, and shredded legal documents. Swamp Sock Jr. stood victorious, the golden Twinkie held high, and the fabric of the universe was safe. So there it is. Death Valley Drifter wants answers from Big Rye. Magnifico Astro has claimed the edge over Sam Hain. Los Astros want tag gold. Shotgun Kid is riding solo again. Sam Hain is back with Christopher Kane and 13 behind him. Tommy Zulu continues unpacking years of stable warfare and old grudges. And Swamp Sock Jr. somehow saved professional wrestling, snack cakes, and textile law in one cage match. Next PPV is Royal Flush, where Highwayman has a chance to become a double champion if he can successfully defend against Starlight and defeat the Chameleon. El Buscador Muerto and Vector will challenge my two dads. The litigators will be challenged by Black Apron. And so much more. Remainder of the card will be announced on the IWAR Network Facebook page after this cycle's bulletin is posted. This is Gene Mean, and in the Independent Wrestling League, the name may say independent, but nobody is making it through this league alone.
There it is. That is your IWL recap. So, Matt, where do you want to go next?
Our last stop on the wagon is the Bloodbath League.
Choo choo.
So, tour number 590, getting close to 600.
Oh.
Let's see here. Your league champion, winning 10 free BBL matches, Hot Rod McNally. TV champion, Tombstone. Central Plains champion, the Alpha, Brock Dawson. East Coast champion, the Omega, and Titanic survivor, Jack Dawson. Great Lakes champion, Rockin' Ronnie Love. Middle Lakes champion, Jammin' Johnny Love. Northeast champion, Decapitator. Pacific Northwest champion, Timberwolf. Or to say around here, Timberwolf Cat. Rocky Mountains champion, Lanky Lonnie Love. Southeast champion, Apocalypse. Southwest champion, Skullfire. West Coast champion, The Butcher, Matthew Dawson. Your tag champions, Tommy Bima and Izzy Stradlin. Your TV tag champions, Mr. Smith and Pork Rind. And your League 16 champions winning 5 free matches for retaining the belts, Mr. Smith, Corporal Punishment, and Colonel Pork Rind. I'm not tired. TV 6-man champions, Nick Rage, Blake Bloom, and Phantom Scorpion. And your Battle Royal winner winning 34 free matches, that must be nice, Hot Rod McNally.
Unbelievable. Hey, Matt, quick question. Does anyone in Boston proper refer to Boston as Beantown?
No. Okay. That is an outside the town, like Hollywood type thing. It's like people in New York call it the Big Apple.
Absolutely not. You might get beat up if you said that shit.
Right. Like, you're like, oh, I'm going to the Big Apple. They'd be like, who the fuck you? You know, like, that's one of those movies that are like, hey, you know, thunder, lightning, or what's the capital of New York? Oh, the Big Apple. Beantown. A quick side story. When I was working as a quote-unquote actor full-time, there was a guy I worked for. Yeah, there was a guy I worked for who had this crazy idea that he could make a mascot for Boston. And the mascot was going to be the Bean. And the Bean was this, like, goofy-looking Bean character.
Oh, man.
And I answered an ad on Craigslist for a bodyguard for the Bean because he kept getting roughed up on Lansdowne Street after the Red Sox game. So I was his bodyguard for about, 3-4 months. And then the kid who played him was booze. He was young, like 22, whatever. He'd booze a lot and he'd, like, oversleep, whatever. So one time there was a Boston Common photo shoot and he didn't show up. So I put the costume on. And, like, Boston Magazine's a picture of me, like, gigantic. You know, like, you can't tell it's me, of course.
Right.
And that was this guy, and he had a store on Newbury Street, which is this really high-end street in Boston for, like, shops. And he was pouring his own money into this. It was going to happen. He was sending out freebies to schools, like pencil toppers. People would be like, what the hell is this? And they go in the store and, like, $50 for a T-shirt. I'm not paying $50 for a T-shirt. You know. So that's the kind of thing, like, someone from outside or someone who doesn't quite get it. Like, no one's going, oh, yeah, Bean, Boston. They're like...
Is that from, like, Boston baked beans?
Yeah, they are. I mean, that's the thing, but the candies suck, so I don't want those.
Yeah.
And they were an old candy anyway, so it was like anyone's like, oh, you know, hip, hip, hip. But yeah, so no one calls it Beantown. Outside of, like, you know, outsiders.
Do you know who says that all
like,
the... You know where that for me, where that phrase originates from? That's Gorilla Monsoon on prime time. Oh, Brain, we're going over to Beantown. You know, we'll see Duke Doherty taking on Lonnie Poffo in this episode of Prime Time.
Like, I just think, like, the Windy City, you know, City of Arches. Like, if someone calls St. Louis City of Arches, I mean, like, yeah, it's the arches there, but, like, you know, I don't know. I'm sure there's other people who could chime in with, like, their local region. Like, a person I was working with the other day was saying that they were in Georgia and they went down to, like, the crazy intersection. Oh, Spaghetti Junction?
Yeah.
And like, that's what it's called? I'm like, that's what it was called when I was there. I don't know if it's still called that or not, but that was this horrible exchange on the highway where you, like, looped around all these loops to get to where you want to go. What a mess. Anyway, so BBL recap.
Yep.
And yes, we are. Gary chimed in. I pitched Gary the idea we talked about to shorten the recaps, and we had 2 ideas, so we'll see how it goes.
Little circumcision.
Yes. brisk.
His is Walter Crinkle-Kite with your Bloodbath League recap for Tour 590, Dog Days 2026. The Bloodbath League has never been subtle, but this cycle made one thing clear. Violence is no longer just part of the brand. It is becoming the direction. The first message was simple and direct. Bloody Sunday is coming. The announcement warned that the first matches will be revealed in the September cycle, and the message to the BBL locker room was unmistakable. Management wants to know who the managers want to make bleed. That is not promotion. That is a declaration of intent. We also got a featured look at Blake Bloom, presented as a major individual presence in the league. There was no long speech attached, but the visual alone kept him positioned as one of BBL's physical threats. In a league built on intimidation, sometimes the image is the statement. Then the Working Man's Union stepped forward with a grievance. Jason Adams and Dollar Bill McKenzie confronted the working conditions in BBL, pointing out that between them they have worked 550 matches in the company. Their complaint was not complicated. They show up, they work hard, and they get beaten down. Adams specifically called out the milkman beating McKenzie in 45 seconds, then using brass knuckles on him afterward, framing BBL as an unsafe workplace. But this was not just a complaint. It became a challenge. Adams and McKenzie turned their attention to the Golden Panthers, who had beaten Warlord Pain and Warlord Agony by only 2 points. The Working Man's Union demanded a tag team match, along with time and a half, hazard pay, breaks, overtime, and eventually a steel chair. Beneath the labor comedy, the message was serious. The Working Man's Union wants to stop being treated like bodies on a schedule and start forcing respect out of the division. Then Warlord Wade Reinhardt addressed the Dusty Rhodes Hardcore Classic. Reinhardt received a first-round bye, but he did not treat that as luck or rest. He called it a delay. He said he did not enter the tournament to sit safely while others fight. He entered to throw bodies, break spirits, and turn the classic into a crime scene. That was not bravado without purpose. Reinhardt's warning was aimed at whoever survives the first round. He said round 1 belongs to everyone else, but round 2 is where the warlord starts the war. In a hardcore tournament, that kind of patience may be more dangerous than recklessness. The Crimson Knights may be in even more dangerous territory, but their threat is internal. Blood Knight, Scarab Knight, and Scarlet Knight erupted in the locker room over their continued failure to capture 6-man gold. Blood Knight blamed the group for looking like a joke. Scarab blamed Blood Knight's recklessness. Scarlet Knight blamed all of them for falling short of what the Crimson Knights are supposed to be. The scene turned into a full brawl. Steel chairs, lockers, armor, weapons, and fists all came into play, but the fight ended with all 3 men reaching the same conclusion. They either rise together or destroy each other. Their final message was clear: 6-man gold or blood. The Crimson Knights are not just chasing championships now. They are trying to recover their identity. The Lords of War, Warlord Agony, and Warlord Pain took a different approach. No rage, no excuses, no denial. They stood without gold and acknowledged Mr. Smith and Pork Rind, the Hounds of Hell, as legitimate champions. They said those titles were earned, not stolen, and they gave the champions their respect. But respect was not surrender. The Lords of War made it clear they want the Hounds of Hell because the Hounds have proven they deserve to be hunted. Agony and Pain are empty-handed, but not without purpose. Their closing line said everything. The Lords of War are coming, and they only chase the strongest. Then came the strangest battlefield of the cycle. The Milkman and Borg Genesis standing victorious as the crowd chanted, "Milk Borg." Rogue Santa was down, Alpha Hotel was tangled in tinsel and floating in a curdled milk pool, and the arena suddenly shifted from celebration to crisis when the temperature dropped and the status changed from naughty to foreclosure. Out of that wreckage came the landlord of Christmas Future, a massive cyborg figure with mechanical elves and an eviction notice sharp enough to become a weapon. The Milkman and Borg Genesis fought through the holiday assault, with elves clogging the Milkman's pasteurizer and Borg going into maximum overdrive. The landlord nearly destroyed Borg Genesis, but Milkman countered with radioactive heavy cream, blinding the monster in hardened butter. Borg then locked in on the exposed hydraulic spine, and together they delivered the brunchtime backbreaker to put the landlord down. The message on Borg's chest said, "Holiday saved," but in the BBL, even a holiday rescue leaves wreckage behind. Finally, Tombstone checked in for the royal family of Doom. He acknowledged that holding gold is nothing new for him, but noted that he is usually surrounded by more of the family. With others handling business elsewhere, Tombstone still wanted the League to know that the royal family of Doom remains active, mobile, and watching. So that is where the Bloodbath League stands. Bloody Sunday is coming. The Working Man's Union is filing grievances with fists behind them. Warlord Wade Reinhardt is waiting to turn the hardcore classic into a massacre. The Crimson Knights are one bad night away from either rebirth or collapse. The Lords of War are hunting the hounds of hell. Milkborg survived a holiday eviction war. And Tombstone has reminded everyone that the royal family of Doom is still moving. This is Walter Crinklecite, and in the Bloodbath League, the warning is rarely symbolic. When they say someone is going to bleed, they usually mean soon.
And you're darn tootin'.
I want to mention a little something out of the TT of the month, if you want to call it that. I enjoy being petty when it comes to like the game and like being a dick. Shout out to Caleb Crawdad, page 24 of the IWL's bulletin, and his tag team, the Heartstoppers, myocarditis and pericarditis. Which, side note, I've had pericarditis. I actually had a bout of it.
Oh.
That was not fun. It was actually right before COVID became a huge thing, and we look back and think it may have actually been related to it, but they can't prove it now. So, anyways, that's not fun to have. But at the bottom of the page, it says, "Wish the best of luck to Tommy Zulu as he begins his series in pursuit of third place in the Battle of the Best tournament." It's so petty. I love it. Oh, it reminds me of this is not related too much, but like the old USWA when like some guy would come out and be like, "This is Horatio Plaza, masked wrestler from Mexico, to give Jerry Lawler an award for being the most popular wrestler in northern Mexico," and it'd be like Austin Idol and beat him up.
That happened a lot over there too.
It did. I loved it.
Did we did that a couple of times.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I think we did one where it was it Jet Magazine. I think we did Jet Magazine as the presenter of the award, if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure Lucha got beat up.
Oh, positive. Positive. Yeah. So that was all of our league recaps.
There it is.
And I'm going to share with you, we've come up with 2 ideas to how to make this easier. And I just suggested to Gary that we do it like half league and half, like, so one group for this. And the idea is that for like the big league for BRL, you do a series of bullet points, and then we'll narrow it down to like the most important theme of each promo, right? Yeah. So it's like snap, 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 like almost like those old like jumping around, like, oh my God, this is happening here. And then the other idea was to ask the assistant there to summarize the top 3 angles in the league and let them decide. And just whatever it picks, it's all part of the fun of like figuring it out, right?
Yeah.
And we'll see how it goes. This is a work in progress. I particularly like the BRL one best because I love the voice of Dapper Dan D being Saul Rosenberg from the Jerky Boys.
He can do it. He can be Morty from Rick and Morty too. Oh, geez.
That's true. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I was saying like, maybe if we had like a Southern voice or a British voice, but I'm sure there's like, I don't know how that system works, so I'm not sure if like he was saying you probably know a better idea about that.
So like a couple things you want to try to do to try to make it less robotic. You want to instruct it to be less robotic. You want to instruct it like you got to tell it what it's like. Hey, you're writing this. This is what you're using it for. Mm-hmm. So they can write it a certain way where it comes across a little bit better. It's never going to be perfect. And I don't think it probably should. Like if you're listening to it, you should know that it's AI. So once we get past that point where then it gets dicey, like ooh.
Oh, my favorite thing right now, as far as AI goes, is the old men that hit on AI as if they're real. Yeah. And I think I've mentioned before. I have a friend who worked in an industry where the guy he worked with retired, and they were still friends. And that guy had a Twitter account, and what this guy was doing, unknowns to him, was when he would reply to somebody thinking it was a direct message, it was actually just responding to a comment or whatever. And it would be like these young, who knows they were real or whatever, but like young women from other parts of the world, and he'd be like, "I'll take care of you, honey." And dude, you're like 82.
Yeah.
not a good time for 82-year-olds, I guess, probably. So, but just I love when they're like, "Hey, sweetie," like there's one someone put together, and it's like all these various ads and old men responding to the ad as if they're a person.
Yeah.
It's like, so, anyways, so talk about some events. So event stuff. First of all, quick run, Bound for Glory. Round 1 went to Carter Matthews from the BRL with a 501. Tom, you bastard. No. Well done. So, Tag Team Derby Round 1. Prophets of Pain, Derek Styles, Thomas Banks, my two dads, and the Disembowelers all had 516s. And then in the Triple D Cup Trios, it was Nightfall Cartel in the ACW with a 521. And I just want to mention that a player wrote to me and said, "Hey, I should have hit a 521, but I put the wrong number, and instead of having a tag team, like it didn't work out. It got botched in the actual match sending." And I can tell you personally, like Sidney Lucier and Luke Hodge Turner should have had like 496 and 497s, or 495 maybe. But I used 45 twice on one of them, and the other one I used, I think it was 25 twice because dumb. So, because 45 twice would be 46, well then I still have 46, whatever. Anyways, bad news. So I always say we default to what the IWA score is, only because everyone could say like, "Oh man, my score should have been this," and then I'd be saying, "Okay, so you would have had a 521, so now I'm going to take money from the guy who had the 521 score." Right. It's just a sucky thing that happens. I know it sucks. As someone who had 3 holds or 3 strats with doubles into the cycle,
it happens to all of us. It happens to all of us. All of a sudden, I got a 468. Yeah. Oh, what'd I do?
Yeah. The good news is, this next round. So everyone's still alive for the next round. Yeah. So don't worry about that too much. It's just, how it goes. So, so that's update on those events. I do want to mention that I'll be promoting the ladder match battle royal, which is at the end of the year. That'll be in December, and the idea is a lumber. We call it the Money in the Bank briefcase shot. I'll be awake next time for that. The Imagine Clash champion updates. I will score those scores the next couple of days. But those scores, remember, we added title shots at the IWAR champions for the Commissioner's champion and Commissioner's secondary champion goes after the Revolution title. The Commissioner's tag and Commissioner's 6-man. So the top scores this cycle and next, the best average earns the shots. So got that in mind. But also, too, we have a clash coming up with War Pig taking on Ghost Machine. I got to figure out the stuff. So things are in the works. So let me think what else. The draft. So the draft is really, really close. So much so that I'm hoping, not to jinx it, but we have 3 spots that are not locked in yet, so we don't quite have 35. I'd love to get 40. That'd be great, or 42, right? If we get there, fantastic. I'm still following up with people, checking in, saying, "Hey, waiting to hear back." So once everything's set in stone by this Sunday, I'm hoping to have it all set up. And if it hits the threshold, we'll have a $100 credit prize, which I still don't know how you're going to do that one, but however it works, works. And then the belt. So fun. I'm almost thinking of doing it as
it's the equivalent of me giving the IWA $100. Here you go.
It pretty much
that's what it is. That's 100%.
It's what it is.
How it's going to go.
Because I was thinking, the belt I'm doing, just so you guys all know, they sell these like the miniature belts, so they're like the size of like a football or a little bigger than that, but they look dope, like the big belts. And I remember Mike Cook and I were talking about that one time. I was like, those belts would be better because you could actually put that in the bookshelf and it wouldn't take a home. I have in my basement, I'm going through a bunch of stuff. I have 4 different IWA belts down there for different things. They're just not really easy to display. So
I guess I got a question. Like, who has the most belts
ever?
Yeah. They took the belt. Like they didn't get because you could get
My first thought would be Anthony Duddick.
That makes sense
because I've seen his posts selling belts on like eBay and whatnot, and they have his name and all that. I think Mark Duchesne has every color. I remember he was trying to go for that at one point, trying to get like all the different colors. But that was the old belts,
right.
And I don't know about the new belts. And I think what's nice about the new belts is you can really like customize it a lot more personally. But the belt that I found online, I'm going to try it out, and it's not that high a cost. It's like $50, I think. So I figure if it works out really well, that'd become part of a staple. Like what I would do is essentially say, okay, if we're going to have a belt for Johnny B Cup instead of a trophy, I'll just take $50 out of it to pay myself for buying the belt, and that's going to cover it. And then there'll still be prize money from it because the event's so big. That's part of the figuring out. But let's try it, see what it looks like. If it's terrible,
with so many belt companies and trophy companies that you can do online, you can get basically anything.
Yeah. So there's some there's really nice belts too. Don't get me wrong, but we'll see how it goes. Other stuff. I think that's everything.
All right. I think we have more than enough.
Right. I know, guys. It was a long show.
First of all, we've done longer.
This new format.
So this isn't too bad. This is what two almost 3 hours. We've done longer than that.
Yes. Has it been that long? Oh.
Yeah. We started around 10:30.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Thereabouts. We've been live. I can tell you what the timer says. 2 hours, 47 minutes, 42 seconds. Still not our longest show, right. I don't think.
I just want to make one last appeal. If you're out there and you've been on the fence about the IWAR draft, you have a couple of options. Let's just put it out there. Number one, new wrestler. If you want to do a new wrestler, that's fine. Two, existing wrestler. They can be outside the IWAR. They can be inside the IWAR. Whatever you want to do is fine. A lot of the veterans and big roster guys who've kind of come to me and are working and getting into this have said, well, listen, I've got my roster set up for the year. I don't really want to move, but I want to be in the draft and help out. So what I've been saying is if you commit to going to like the CWL or the ACW or whatever, and you're going to be there in January and it works better for you, fine. The only problem is you miss out on the events, like the contest part of it.
Right.
If you don't care about that, if you're like, whatever, that's fine. I just want to be part of the draft and, whatever event wise, I have all the belts and credit I need because some of you guys have tons in the bank. That's fine too. It's more about just getting people in, having fun, and loading the deck as best we can. So
you could use it. You could use it for trash talk. Hey, listen, I was drafted before you. Yada yada yada. You could use it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there you have it.
There it is. All right, guys. So
Rock and Roll Express.
Yes, that's the Rock and Roll Express.
Oh, nice.
I think it's versus what?
Rude
and Manny. Yeah.
Ah, man, I was such a Rude fan. Heeman Hoven's patterned after Rick Rude.
All right, guys. So we are officially out of time. So for Matt, for Ryan, who's probably currently asleep, and for myself, Alex G. Have a good night.